test and it is high, they may refer you to see a urologist for further testing.
Once again, it is Men's Health Month, so for answers to questions like that one and much, much more, including general information for men and their health, please visit wakemed.org. Once again, that website is wakemed.org.
Parenting is hard. Technology can make it harder. The Family Media Plan developed by the American Academy of Pediatrics helps make it easier. Go to healthychildren.org/media plan today to create the media plan that's right for your family.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
With the first pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, the Dallas Mavericks select Cooper Flagg from Duke University.
What sets him apart is he plays at both ends of the floor. He's equally as impactful as a defender as he is as an offensive player. He's a complete basketball player. A guy who can be a playmaker at both ends, elite in transition as a finisher, an elite defender, and he's an improved shooter. But his level as a competitor is something that's rarely seen, in my view, for an 18-year-old kid.
Some dreams were made last night, Victoria.
Yep.
Some hopes and dreams were made last night, and there'll be more made tonight. Round 2 of the NBA draft takes place tonight. They decided to split it up over 2 days because, well, let's just bore us again with another night. But it's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria Vodenecker producing the show as always. We're going to dive into the NBA draft, but I was watching it last night on ESPN. I flipped over to it, obviously, when the draft started. And I'm like, this is kind of boring.
Yeah.
Actually, it wasn't kind of like, this is boring. I even posted it out on X at the Fan Rookie, by the way. I posted out there, yeah, this draft coverage by ESPN, like, this is boring. And someone said, oh, flip over to ABC. Okay, so I flip over to ABC. Okay, so it's like a different group of people and all that stuff. And it's just Stephen A. Smith yelling. I'm like, because that's just so much better.
That's just a day ending in Y.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh, okay, well, mute.
Yeah.
You know? And then actually someone suggested, hey, you know what? Actually, the guys from Field of 68, Rob Doster and Jeff Goodman, those guys, people who've been on this program, they're doing their own stuff live. And I actually just tuned in and checked out the Field of 68 stuff. And I was like, oh, I like this better.
Right.
But,
third time's the charm.
Yeah. I was like, really?
Yeah. 2 days of this?
Really?
Okay. That's what we're doing.
But some hopes and dreams were made true last night, and let's go ahead and get started with that, Victoria. By the way, we are going to 12:30. All you Carolina Hurricanes fans out there, 12:30. We have some audio sound bites from Pierre LeBrun of The Athletic, also works for TSN, massive hockey insider, giving some of the latest insight on Mitch Marner and the Carolina Hurricanes. So I know that's the big fish in the pond, right, Victoria, when it comes to this offseason?
Big time.
Well, better have plan B, C, D, E, F, all the way down to X, Y, and Z ready to go if you're an NHL team if you do not get Mitch Marner. But there's some teams last night that got the guy they wanted in the NBA draft. Or at least one of the guys that they wanted. Including, let's go ahead right here in the state of North Carolina. The Charlotte Hornets, Victoria. Number 4, draft Duke guard Knueppel. Now, I said it yesterday. Even with Brendan Whitted. Go on 99.9 The Fans YouTube page. You can check out the conversation there by myself and Brendan Whitted. But I even said it yesterday. Knueppel is not a sexy pick. It's not. A lot of people are like, well, what about Ace Bailey? Because you see the tough shot making. You see like the highlight reels from Ace Bailey. You even see a guy like, Trey Johnson out of Texas. A guard who can handle, put the ball on the floor, create opportunities not only for himself but for others. A 6'10" wingspan as a 6'6" guard. People see that. I go, well, why'd you go Knueppel? I said it yesterday. It's not going to be a sexy pick, but it raises the floor of your franchise. I don't know if he's going to be that superstar, but this team needs to have some level of consistency. Needs to have some level of consistency because right now they have not had it for years. And Jay Billis of ESPN said Knueppel, well, let's be honest, is just the best shooter in the draft.
Well, he's the best catch-and-shoot guy in this draft. Knueppel's got deep range, shot 48% on corner threes, and his shooting mechanics and his shot preparation, his low base, near perfect. And he catches it to shoot it, and you've got to take that shot away from him. And he can get into the lane with his strength and makes plays off at 2 feet. But as a shooter, there aren't many like him in this draft. It's this catch-and-shoot, really deep range, and that shot gives him such credibility. He can drive a closeout, and again, playing off 2 feet. But one of the great things about Knueppel is he is tough, man. He's physical, he gets loose balls, but that shot with his shot fake, he's a straight line driver. When he gets in the lane off a shot fake, he can make a play in the lane and he can make a pass, but he's got a versatile game.
I said it yesterday. I actually like the pick. Now, one of the concerns about Ace Bailey from Rutgers, who was the second Rutgers guy drafted yesterday, Dylan Harper was pick number 2 overall from Rutgers. Ace Bailey ends up going 6th to Utah. I'm sorry, 5th to Utah. My apologies on that. Which, by the way, Rutgers, you had 2 of the top 5 picks in the NBA draft, and you didn't even make the NCAA tournament? Question. You bring in a winning player like Knueppel. Again, someone that's going to raise the floor of your team. There might be the higher ceiling with Ace Bailey, but there's a big question of, well, does Ace Bailey actually really want to play for you, and is he going to give full effort if you draft him? That was actually a big point of contention. Jonathan Gavoni of ESPN, Utah, the Jazz selected Ace Bailey with the 5th overall pick, even though Utah was not one of Ace Bailey's preferred destinations.
Ace Bailey did not work out for a single NBA team. He's the only U.S. prospect that declined to do so. This was not one of his preferred destinations, Utah. He was hoping to get to either Washington, New Orleans, or Brooklyn. The Utah Jazz selected Ace Bailey knowing that this is a little bit of a stunner, but if you think about it, this is an outstanding place for Ace Bailey. They have a wide open wing situation. They have a huge need for a star in his mold. They have an outstanding coaching staff. I think Ace Bailey is going to recover from this very quickly and realize that he landed in an outstanding situation with the Utah Jazz. It just shows you there's only so much an agent can control in this process. If an NBA team decides they're going to take Ace Bailey, that's exactly what happened. And this is the first move that Austin Ainge has made as a head decision maker in the NBA, and it's a big one.
So that was a point of contention when it comes to, okay, well, are you willing to draft somebody who clearly has zero interest in being a part of your franchise? That's a major question. Hey, you're super talented. We're going to, like Utah said, hey, we're going to draft you anyway. But that's a major point of contention for a team like Charlotte, is that how quickly would a player possibly just be a disruptor to the point where they force their way out of your organization? And then now you're trying to recover your losses. I'm wondering if Charlotte looked at that and said, that's not a headache that we want to deal with. So let's go ahead and get Knueppel. I hate using the term a safe pick, but it's still a really good pick. Let's be honest here, folks. Be like, oh, they reached set number 4. A lot of people had Knueppel as like the 5th or 6th best player in the draft.
Yeah.
You took him at 4. It's not like a massive stretch here.
No.
It really isn't. Let's make sure we keep that in mind. But something the Hornets yesterday did, actually, speaking of Knueppel, there are a lot of detractors. There are a lot of people who obviously support him and are fans of his, but there are a lot of detractors as well. Knueppel was actually on WFNZ in Charlotte this morning. He joined Mac and Bone, and Knueppel says, yeah, he has heard the negative talk about his game, but also isn't afraid of that negative talk.
Oh, it's nothing I haven't heard before. I'm just gonna keep working hard and trying to get better overall in my game, and that's worked out for me so far, and I have full confidence that it'll keep working out for me going forward.
Now, I think if VJ Edgecombe was not drafted 3rd overall by the Philadelphia 76ers, I think VJ Edgecombe, if he was there at number 4, would have been an instant pick there by Charlotte. But it was, hey, if VJ isn't there, then Khan is our guy. And I think they got someone that they really, really liked and they really, really wanted. But the Hornets weren't done yesterday, Victoria, after the number 4 pick.
Nope.
They finally traded away Mark Williams Something that they tried to do last year with the Lakers, and the Lakers said, well, actually, he failed our physical, so we're actually going to nix that whole trade that sent, Dalton Connect and some other stuff back from the LA Lakers. Well, they finally traded away Mark Williams, another former Duke guy, by the way. They sent Williams to the Phoenix Suns for the 29th pick, plus a first-round pick in 2029. So you got a pick this year and you got a future asset. And the Hornets drafted Cam McNeely, who's a wing/guard, 6'7" from UConn, who we actually saw play here in the state of North Carolina, the NCAA tournament for UConn in rounds 1 and 2 at the Lenovo Center in Raleigh. So I got to see him up close and personal. I think that's overall for 29, it's a solid pick because now you boost up your backcourt and your wings by drafting Knueppel and Cam McNeely. Speaking of the Suns and Duke players, obviously they got former Duke player Mark Williams in the trade from the Hornets, but the Phoenix Suns with the 10th overall pick, after a trade, get Khaman Maluach, the center from Duke. So now they got two centers from Duke, the Phoenix Suns do, on their roster. Jay Billis on what Khaman Maluach will bring to the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, wore number 9 at Duke in honor of Luol Deng, but you're talking about a big-time rim protector with a 7'6" wingspan, blocked a ton of shots last season for Duke and was a real presence in the lane. Also an excellent offensive rebounder. His offensive rebound percentage was close to 17%. That was top 15 in Division I. And he shot 71% from the field. That was 4th in Division I. He shot that percentage in large measure because he's a great offensive rebounder. He's excellent as a pick and roll roller. You can just lob it up as high as you want. He had 81 dunks on the season. That was 2nd in Division I. 38 of those dunks were off of lobs. He's not a switch big. He played mostly in drop coverage, but he's a better perimeter shooter than his statistics indicated. It's something he has worked on.
I'm excited to see what Maluach can do in the NBA just because he started playing basketball when he was 13 years old. He's 18, 19 now. That's still super young, not only just from a physical age point, but young in the sense of how long he's been playing basketball. And most people that are getting drafted now have been playing since they were like 3, 4, playing basketball since they were a toddler. He picked it up at 13. And now he's the 10th pick in the draft. Super congrats to him. Obviously, the number 1 overall pick. Again, a lot of Duke. 3 picks in the top 10. Number 1 overall, obviously, is Cooper Flagg going to the Dallas Mavericks. We talked about it a lot yesterday, but there's been a lot of comparisons about, what is Cooper Flagg's ceiling? What is his comp? Seth Greenberg, ESPN, former ACC basketball coach of the year, compares Cooper Flagg to a former Chicago Bull great.
Paul George, Scottie Pippen, a little bit of Grant Hill in him, but Scottie Pippen, he could be a play starter, he could be a playmaker. He has the ability to make shots. He's got defensive range. His feel for the game, his competitive spirit, his understanding of taking what the defense gives him, impacting the game defensively with his length. Like I call it defensive range because of his length, his 7-foot wingspan. To me, it's absolutely, he impacts the game on both ends. The guy is so versatile, but he never chases it. He takes everything the game gives him. He takes over games without having to take over games. He takes over games sometimes by being a play starter, sometimes by being a playmaker, sometimes by being scoring, sometimes going to get post-ups or getting a defensive rebound and initiating a fast break. That's who he is.
Hey, a Scottie Pippen comparison is not a bad thing. It's not.
No,
it's not.
There's worse comparisons.
Yeah, but a lot of people are like, he was just a number 2 guy to Michael. Yeah, but Scottie was still great in and of himself, too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a different conversation for another time. But hey, if he is a Scottie Pippen level player, you got a great one. Now, Alan Hahn of ESPN talked about the situation with the Dallas Mavericks. And we talked about this with Brendan Woody yesterday. Going into Dallas for Cooper Flagg, it's actually a really good situation because generally if you're the number 1 overall pick, you're going to a franchise that's been struggling like the Charlotte Hornets that don't have a whole lot going on for them. Except you're going to a team that has Klay Thompson, has Anthony Davis, Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington, Max Chris, a bunch of other guys. Kyrie Irving obviously dealing with the ACL injury, but overall, a pretty good situation. And Alan Hahn of ESPN said, hey, you know what? Cooper Flagg doesn't have to carry the burden of carrying the franchise.
He is part of a team that's got veterans on it, that has expectations. But the most important thing is he's going to a team that's going to look at him at 15 years old and say, hey, kid, we need you to lead us. He doesn't have to do that. He has to figure out how he fits in at both ends of the floor, which he does bring to the game, and yet not have to have the burden of carrying a franchise at such a young age. I think for him, that's valuable. For that organization, it's also huge because you talk about development while also winning. When do you ever see that in the NBA?
You don't. You don't ever see it in the NBA. Again, generally, number one overall picks go into bad situations. That's just the unfortunate reality. I mean, heck, we've seen it here in this state. Remember Bryce Young a couple of years ago? Went into a pretty terrible situation in 2023 as the number one overall pick. It happens. And for Cooper Flagg, he's going to go into a team that could push for a playoff spot right away. It's going to be pretty fascinating to watch him in his career. Yeah. But he's not the only, Maluach, Knueppel, Flagg aren't the only college guys that play in the state of North Carolina. And a guy who's actually a native of North Carolina, Drake Powell, ends up with the Brooklyn Nets, the 22nd overall pick. Now, he technically was drafted by the Hawks, is one of the things that annoys me about the NBA. Technically was drafted by the Atlanta Hawks, then gets traded to the Brooklyn Nets. But nonetheless, he's a Brooklyn Net. And it was agreed upon that trade previously, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, Drake Powell out of North Carolina, going number 22 overall, ends up with the Nets, who had 5 picks in the first round, by the way, yesterday. Ended up with 5. 5! Hey, 3 ain't enough. I need 5. Not sure if all of those guys actually end up making the team this year. I would not be surprised, and do not be surprised, folks, if you hear today of the Brooklyn Nets flipping some of those players, 1, 2, maybe even 3 of them, for future assets or even a bevy of second-round picks possibly. So even though Drake Powell is right now a Brooklyn Net, I'm not saying he's going to get traded, but it would not surprise me if one of the 5 guys they ended up with after last night gets moved on. They just, long term, you're not going to be able to keep all 5. Now, maybe they start the year in Brooklyn, and eventually, they're part of a package deal where guys get traded. Who knows? I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was initially a Charlotte Hornet draft pick, was part of a draft day trade that sent him to the LA Clippers, played for the Clippers for 1 season before getting dealt to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then now, obviously, he's a league MVP and NBA champ and all that kind of stuff. So my point is, don't be surprised just because of Brooklyn's situation if Powell gets moved. I'm not saying he will, but don't be shocked if that's the case. But I'm excited for Drake Powell because I feel, when we talked to his head coach, Matt Brown, yesterday, I asked him, hey, what's an ideal situation for him? And a couple teams that he mentioned were the Chicago Bulls and the Brooklyn Nets. He actually specifically mentioned Brooklyn. So we'll see what Drake Powell's future is going to be. Again, I say this with a little hesitation in that, oh, yeah, he's a Brooklyn Net, knowing the fact that they might be making some moves.
True.
But Drake Powell going 22nd, if you looked at a lot of the rankings of, draft boards and projections, he was kind of in that early to mid-20s down to, the mid-30s type range is where he was. So he went high in that range of where he got picked. I think he's a guy, in my opinion, with his athleticism, his length. He's 6'6", but he has a 7-foot wingspan, and he's a pretty good outside shooter, and he's a heck of a defender, and he plays with a lot of intensity. I think it's someone that can come in and contribute to a team right away. Might be the 8th guy off the bench, like the number 8 guy, part of that second unit in the rotation, playing 20 minutes a night. That's fine as a rookie. If you get him at number 22, that's great. Continue to develop and grow, and he's super young. I'm excited about Drake Powell's future. I think he has a bright one ahead of himself as well.
Yeah, we've heard only good things about the people who are around him, about him just being a good person. And those are good ones to have on your team, too.
Absolutely.
Bad apples don't help.
They don't. Mm-mm. They don't. You can't have enough people with, good character.
Yeah.
You see, sports is no different than your workplace.
Absolutely.
It's no different. You got to have people with good character where you work with as well. And as I mentioned, one of those picks yesterday that was drafted by the Brooklyn Nets could go for a bevy of second-round picks. We've seen that before. Well, speaking of second-round picks, the Hornets have 2 of them today. They had pick number 33 and pick number 34, so it's the third and fourth pick in the second round. Now, they traded away their center, Mark Williams, yesterday. Do they go after another center today? Max Reynolds from Stanford, first-team All-ACC guy, played 4 years in college, kind of has that NBA build in the sense of he's 7'1", 7'2", can protect around the rim, but also is a good ball handler. He's from France. Good ball handler. He's not afraid to step outside and shoot. Like, I remember actually watching him play against Carolina at the Dean Dome this past season. It took like 12 3-pointers in that game. So he can be a stretch five for you. And that's something that NBA teams covet. So maybe you can find him early in the second round if he's not already drafted. Maybe there's a guy that you want to get like Ryan Kalkbrenner from Creighton in one of those spots. Big guy, 7'6" wingspan. We heard Jay Billis talk about how Khaman Maluach was second in college basketball this season in dunks around the rim. Well, Kalkbrenner led the NCAA in dunks last season. You want to talk about a pick-and-roll lob threat, that's what he can be. So that's something that he could possibly bring to the Charlotte Hornets as well. Again, a couple names to keep out for on, picks 33 and 34. You can find some decent players in those positions. You still have Tyrese Proctor floating around out there. You still have Sion James floating around out there as well. So some guys with some local ties still available in the draft. All right, real quick, speaking of pro sports in Charlotte, real fast. Let's go to the Carolina Panthers here real quick, Victoria.
I'm down.
There are some reports floating around or some ideas floating around that Trey Hendrickson, the Cincinnati Bengals edge rusher who is currently in a contract dispute with the Cincinnati Bengals, that he potentially could get traded to another team. Now, it's obviously up to what the compensation could be to Cincinnati. Are they willing to trade him away? But Fox Sports actually released a graphic, or at least put out there, that what's an ideal location for Trey Hendrickson to get traded to. And they mentioned the Carolina Panthers as an ideal spot for Trey Hendrickson. And I thought, would that work? I like the idea of having, yes, exactly. That's what I went through in my head, Victoria, was that.
Obviously.
I know, clearly. I don't know.
I don't know what's
I sputtered thinking about it, Victoria. I really did. Because when Trey Hendrickson, I thought, I was like, well, okay, I like the idea of a premium edge rusher being on this team. Because the pass rush situation for the Carolina Panthers over the last several seasons has not been good.
No.
If you actually go back to a few years ago, if I remember correctly, it was 2017. Mario Addison, Julius Peppers, each finished with 11 sacks that season. Both those guys did. Since then, in like the 7-8 seasons since then, they've only had two guys actually reach double-digit sacks. 1 year was Brian Burns. 1 year was Hassan Reddick. That's it. So the idea of getting a premium edge rusher does excite me. But I also wonder at what cost. Trey Hendrickson's 31 years old. I understand that he led the league last year with 17 sacks. But if you're going to go for a guy like Trey Hendrickson, it's going to cost you a couple of things. One, draft capital, obviously. Remember, Brian Burns was traded for a second-round pick and a fifth-round pick swap with the New York Giants. Now, Hendrickson's been more productive than Brian Burns has. Now, Brian Burns, younger player, so that's obviously a factor in as well. So would it cost you a second and a fifth to go get him? Would it or you send a second and a fifth and you get back Hendrickson in a fourth? Like, what's that going to cost? Is it going to cost you a third-round pick straight up or just a second-round pick straight up? It's going to cost you draft capital. Plus, if you're going to trade for the guy, he's wanting a contract extension. He's going into the last years of his deal. So guess what it's going to do? It's also going to cost you a bunch of money. And it's likely not going to be, just for an extension 1 more year or 2 more years. It's probably going to have to be a 3-year extension. At minimum, is my guess. So you take a player age 31, so on the wrong side of 30, that you're going to have to pay big money to and give up draft capital for. I don't think that the Carolina Panthers as an organization are in that position to make that kind of move. It kind of goes opposite of what they've been doing in terms of, at least with Dan Morgan, Dave Canales, Brant Tillis, and this crew, what they've been doing, building up the roster, which has been getting young talent and building it up through the draft. Yes, they've supplemented their roster with free agent signings, but all the free agent signings that they made were guys that are still in their like mid-20s, like the Pat Joneses, the Turk Whartons, Bobby Browns, guys in their mid-20s that still have growth potential. And they're also not binding contracts that are going to hamstring you 3 years from now. That's the kind of free agent guys that they've signed. Making this kind of move is for a team that's built to win right now. Which I hate saying it, the Panthers aren't in that situation yet.
No.
Now, if this was the next offseason where we anticipate, Victoria, this Carolina Panthers team taking the next step, growing maybe into an 8-9 win team this upcoming year.
Yeah.
And like, hey, you know what? What's the key piece that can help take us over the top? Then you go make that move.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen the Washington Commanders after making it all the way to the NFC title game last year. Hey, let's trade a draft pick to go get Deebo Samuel. Even last year during the season, hey, let's trade a couple picks, future picks, to go get Marcus Lattimore because he can help our team not only now but for the next couple years because we feel like we can win right now. The Panthers aren't in that mode.
Unfortunately, no.
And that's okay. Like, it's okay.
Yeah, we
to be building and like they're trending in the right direction.
Right.
To me, this actually kind of sets them back a little bit. Plus, I also thought about scheme fit. Trey Hendrickson's a true defensive end in a 4-3 system. The Panthers under Evero's system with that 3-4, the guys aren't defensive ends. Their edge rushers are really outside linebackers. And how many times have we seen last year Jadeveon Clowney dropping into pass coverage, or even a couple years ago Brian Burns dropping into pass coverage? If I'm training for Trey Hendrickson and I see that dude dropping into pass coverage, blow a gasket. Like, that's not what that guy is built to do. So I understand the idea and thought of it, but I don't think the execution of it and the in practicality is not a good decision. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Now, a team that can actually make a bunch of moves for high-priced players is the Carolina Hurricanes. We hear the latest on the Canes and the big fish out there in the free agent pond, Mitch Marner, next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
With free agency coming up, I don't know a lot about economics, but I know this. When there's a little supply, it's going to make the demand high. There's not many centers out there, and the Canes need one, so just be prepared for this. Either you're going to get a player you like, but the cost is going to be too much, or you're going to get a player you don't like, but you'll like the cost. You can't have it all.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Lowe's knows July 4th savings are worth celebrating. Right now, get up to 40% off select major appliances and get an additional 10% off 2 or more select major appliances. Plus, get 3 Scott's Naturescapes 1.5 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. These deals are coming in hot. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 7/9. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Experience legendary craftsmanship with an Omega timepiece. From the iconic Speedmaster that accompanied astronauts to the moon, to the Seamaster, loved by the world's most famous spy, Omega watches capture the spirit of adventure and precision. At Bailey's Fine Jewelry, find a timepiece that matches your story. Discover your Omega at Bailey's today. Voted Best Jeweler. Learn more at baileybox.com.
Down on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Do your summer plans include travel? Make sure your prep includes more than just flights and hotels. Stay up to date with COVID-19 vaccination, especially if you're 65 or older or have certain health conditions. There have been surges in COVID-19 in the summer, too. It's important to help protect yourself no matter your destination. So check eligibility and schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
That's the sound of a Mountain Dew. And that's you enjoying its refreshing citrus kick. That's a cool breeze suddenly whistling through your hair.
Whoa!
That's you realizing you're now on a mountain.
This is epic!
That's you stating the obvious.
Mountain Dew!
Do the Dew.
Hurry into Family Fare and get 2 20-ounce bottles of ice-cold Mountain Dew for just $4.29. Family Fare, first in thirst.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things. People. Love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This is Adam Gold.
I have so many questions, too. Like, is the mom going to be in the business, too? Are we going to have, like, themed UNC products? She's in it, so.
Interesting ram horn you've got there.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
July 1st, Tuesday, July 1st, Victoria. It's a day we're all waiting for. Because that is the day that free agency in the NHL begins. And it might be right at noon. That we find out where Mitch Marner is going, Victoria. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria Vonecker producing the show today.
That's the big question on everyone's mind.
It is. And it's going to have, depending on where Mitch Marner decides to go, it's going to have a ripple effect across the league because everyone has to have multiple plans for, okay, if we don't get Mitch Marner, and this factors in the Carolina Hurricanes as well, okay, well, what else is out there? Do I make a move for Nikolai Ehlers? Do I go for a Brock Besser? I mean, the center market is dried up. We assume that Sam Bennett is going to re-sign with the Florida Panthers. We assume Brad Marchand's going to re-sign with the Florida Panthers. Maybe Aaron Ekblad is the one that actually goes to free agency, the defenseman. So what's available out there after Mitch Marner? Now, we all know that the Carolina Hurricanes are interested in Mitch Marner. They even tried to make a play for him at the trade deadline last year when they were trying to flip Mikko Rantanen. Instead, they sent Rantanen to Dallas with getting, the 2 first-round picks, a couple other third-round picks, and Logan Stankoven in return. By the way, I'm going to do a Logan Stankoven contract extension breakdown. Potentially, what I think a Stankoven extension could be a little bit later on in the show. But when it comes to free agency, I think this is something that we lose sight of, Victoria, at times, is that it's a two-way street.
Mm-hmm.
A team might want you, but you might not want that team. Or vice versa. Hey, I would love to go play for them, but they're not offering me a contract.
Yeah.
And also, does the terms mean, it's a two-way street.
It's like a relationship.
It is. Pierre LeBrun writes for The Athletic, also part of TSN up in Canada. He's a true hockey insider, as good as it gets. Well, he's not sure if the Hurricanes are on Mitch Marner's radar.
Carolina would love to be all in on Mitch Marner. Remember that they tried to trade for him at the deadline. I just don't know that Carolina would be on Marner's list. In fact, I don't think they are right now, but that could change. Columbus, a team out of left field that has the most cap space in the whole league, Jay. They would like to get in on it, but again, I don't know that they would be a team on Mitch Marner's list. Probably won't be. So again, still developing. There are teams that will come out from obscurity on this too between now and next week, but that's a start.
Again, teams could come out of obscurity. You never know. Columbus has $40.4 million in cap space. The Anaheim Ducks have 36. Carolina, fourth most cap space in the league going into the offseason as of right now, 26.8 roughly. And they could even make that a little bit more like, hey, you send Bradley Nadeau back down to the minors next season. Hey, congratulations, you cleared up another like $850,000. There's San Jose. He's got $44 million. Now, again, it all depends on what Mitch Marner's looking for. Does he want a shorter-term contract? Hey, do I want to do 2 or 3 years? And then after that term is up, guess what? Salary cap goes back up. It's going to spike even higher. I can cash in even more. What is he willing to do? There's competition out there. What other teams, Pierre LeBrun, are serious contenders for Mitch Marner outside of Carolina?
There are teams that we've identified that for sure I think are going to be in this. Vegas is in there. Dallas is interesting because Dallas, I think, is a team that Marner would like to have in there. I just don't know if the Stars can pull it off after they've committed themselves to Rantanen and they've got cap issues. But keep an eye on Dallas. LA Kings, I think, want to make a splash under Ken Holland. Anaheim Ducks just cleared up some cap space in trading Trevor Zegras. They are for sure not done. I just don't know if they have the wherewithal to get into the Marner Derby, but I think they're going to certainly ask the question.
Dallas Stars, Victoria.
Yep.
Obviously, Vegas, we heard yesterday we talked to Justin Pothier of Simb in Vegas, who covers the Golden Knights, about what they could potentially do to possibly free up space to maybe get Mitch Marner. Could they send somebody out? Tomas Hertl was a name that was mentioned. William Karlsson, another center from Vegas Golden Knights, player that could be mentioned as well. The LA Kings, who have about $21.7 million in cap space, they're floating around out there. But the Dallas Stars is an intriguing one, Victoria, because I bring up this. A lot of people, including myself, are very high on Jason Robertson, the winger from Dallas, who has been the last couple of years a point-per-game player, but even just a couple of years ago, put up over 100 points and has played in every game each of the last 3 years. Now, granted, he got hurt in the very last game of the regular season last year, which caused him to miss some playoff time last year, but then once he kind of got back into the groove of things, started putting up points when he came back from that injury. And he's going into the last year of his contract, making just under $8 million a year. He's going to be a restricted free agent after this upcoming season, and it's going to be due for a big-time contract extension. Well, if Dallas wants to clear up cap space, well, they just signed their captain, Jamie Benn, to a 1-year deal at $1 million base salary, but granted it has $3 million in incentives. You can do that with a player that's age 35 or older. You can have that, much like Freddie Anderson's contract is for this upcoming year for the Carolina Hurricanes. There are some escalators that are built in there that with the incentives, if you don't have room on this year's salary cap, they just roll over into next year's salary cap. That's what you can do with players with incentive-laden contracts that are age 35 or older. So if the Dallas Stars want to clear up space, hey, guess what? Carolina Hurricanes, you can swoop in and be like, hey, Dallas, you want your 2028 first-round pick back that you gave us for Mikko Rantanen? We'll give it back to you if you give us Jason Robertson or, something along those lines. I don't know why I said it like that, but that's the way I did.
Hey, I like it, though.
Hey, put a little spunk to it.
I'm here for it.
But you're going to have to clear up cap space in order to do so. Now, there are some players that they have on their team, like Tyler Seguin has a no-movement clause. Rope Hintz has a no-movement clause. Matt Duchene, they just signed to a contract extension, has a no-movement clause. But maybe if they want to go all in on Mitch Marner, do you take away Jason Robertson? Do you possibly have them give up one of their young players in Wyatt Johnston? Now, it's going to cost you some of your top players and picks to come back, but you have the ammo to do so. So if Dallas wants to make a move for Marner, Carolina, go benefit from it. If Vegas wants to make a move for Marner, Carolina, go benefit from it if you can't get Marner yourself. Now, there are Pierre LeBrun continues on about Mitch Marner, saying there are still teams waiting to see, again, if they really want to go all in on Mitch Marner.
You know, Bill Daley from the NHL warned teams this year at a Board of Governors meeting to take down their tampering a level. He knows it can't be zero tampering, but he said, guys, if you do something obvious, we're going to have to come down on you guys. And I will say that I've noticed there are teams trying to be on the right side of this to some degree. And so there are teams saying to me, hey, yeah, I think we want to investigate that, but we're honestly waiting till July 1st to know more from the agent.
Now, tampering takes place in the NHL. We all know what happens, right? It is. Now, tampering is basically you're talking to agents before the window actually does open, before you're allowed to talk to them. There's a reason why Jake Gensel was traded directly to the Tampa Bay Lightning last year, because they kind of knew. It's like, all right, they know they got a deal locked up with him. We'll go ahead and make that move now. Like, it was almost like a hush money, for lack of a better term. But anyway, tampering and stuff, it does take place. It does happen. But Carolina, again, if Dallas wants to go after Mitch Marner and Carolina learns this, or Vegas wants to go after Mitch Marner and they learn this, Carolina can still benefit from it. There are some good players that they can go snag. Again, if you can go get Jason Robertson from Dallas and, hey, basically, Dallas, do you want your 2026 pick back along with, like a 2027 first round pick from us? Like, whatever it might be. You can do that. Oh, we'll throw you out like a one of our like prospects. Like, or wait, we'll throw in Jackson Blake into the mix. Or we'll throw in, hey, you got to take Kotkaniemi, or whatever it might be in order to make the money work.
Yeah.
Go do that. Like, go benefit from that.
I mean, the Carolina Hurricanes learned last year from the Mikko Rantanen ordeal that we can make water out of wine if we try. Like, if
water
if
out
we
of wine,
shoot, yeah, wine out of wine, whatever.
Whichever.
I like it because you may try to get someone, but in the process, you might be happily surprised at what we land on. So, I don't know. This is why I trust Eric Tulsky.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
They're going to find that void. And again, if other teams are going to be desperate to clear space, that's where you can take advantage of and not have to pay full price to get somebody that you really like. If Vegas wants to go all in on getting Mitch Marner, hey, guess what? It's going to cost you somebody. We'll take William Karlsson off your hands, and he could be our number 2 center for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And we don't have to give you a whole lot to get him back because you need it. Like, you need him off your books more than we need him. So we're doing you a solid, which means I'm going to give you 80 cents to $1 here, is what I'm saying. Carolina can take advantage of that. Find that market inefficiency and attack it, which is what the Carolina Hurricanes are really good at doing. The whole Mitch Marner thing is going to be pretty fascinating to follow. Now, we've already seen some trades taking place in the NHL. We even saw last night at like midnight, J.J. Peterka, who's a restricted free agent from the Buffalo Sabres, young guy, 23 years old, gets sent to the Utah Mammoth. And in return, they sent like Michael Kesselring and Josh Doan, just 2 players back. That's all it was. No picks or anything involved. And then Peterka ends up signing a 5-year contract extension right away. It's like $7.75 million, I think it's what it was. But nonetheless, we're seeing moves already being made, several of them. So Carolina might be in on the trade market for somebody as well, which we'll dive into a little bit later on. Speaking of, we might have some questions involving that on one-timers, Victoria, regarding the Carolina Hurricanes, regarding potentially some trades coming up. One-timers next.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
At North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, you're more than a policy, you're family. With offices in every county, we're close by when it matters most. Our local agents customize coverage to fit your life. And our award-winning claims team delivers fast, quality repairs. It's no surprise Forbes ranked us the #1 auto insurer in America. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
It's the first day of the first grade. and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
You'll be one smart cookie when you try Bluebell Cookie Cake Ice Cream. A sweet cream ice cream loaded with chocolate chip cookie cake pieces and swirls of chocolate and vanilla icing. This cookie cake ice cream really takes the cake.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. This month, we're talking about a major collaboration that's making waves in Iredell County. Kim Holland, Development Coordinator for the Iredell Health Foundation, tells us about Whole 3.
The goal of the collaborative is about addressing the complex and interwoven challenges that many families in Iredell County face. And, things like poverty, lack of access to health care, and educational disparities. So it's designed as truly a collaborative. It's community-led initiative. We're bringing together schools, nonprofits, health systems, and families to build a system that actually works for families, not just around them.
Learn more and join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
Every parent wants their child to grow up healthy and strong, especially if they have a special medical need. And when my son Maddox was born with a rare neurological disorder, private insurance wouldn't cover his care. But Medicaid stepped in, and now Maddox can go to school and have a future of his own. My name is Ashley, and I'm speaking up to protect NC Medicaid.
Learn more at ncchild.org/speakup. That's ncchild.org/speakup.
Healthcare? Why?
Why is it so hard?
Healthcare is broken.
At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, we get it.
Really?
Really. That's why we're making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
Really?
Really. We're making plans easier to navigate by putting all your benefits, prescriptions, and details on your computer and phone. Convinced?
No, but it's a start.
We'll take it. Blue Cross North Carolina, making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
As public power customers, we experience fewer outages and faster restoration than customers of other electric providers. But the benefits of having a locally owned electric system go far beyond unbeaten reliability. Our local public power employees support our community, providing electric hookups for events, installing and maintaining ballpark lights, holiday lights, traffic lights, street lights, and more. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's the value of public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
All of us have a role to play in promoting a mental health-friendly workplace. Learn more at whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
Gold. Gold.
Because if interrupting is part of the talent, then she wins.
Giving an RBF face? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, everybody saw it.
I didn't say it. I
that picture
did not say that.
When they were asking Bill and she interrupts him and they look at her, that's evil. Like,
yeah.
I was waiting for the lights to come out of her pupils.
You're not wrong.
The Adam Gold Show.
If you missed any of the Adam Gold Show, make sure you check it out on the Best of the Adam Gold Show podcast. Also, the flagship station for the Adam Gold Show is 99.9 The Fan, located in Raleigh, which is where Victoria and I are located right now. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold. Subscribe on 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. You can check out the entire show. No matter where you are, you can watch it. We stream it there. You can leave thoughts in the comments in the YouTube chat. You can go on the videos and, again, leave comments as well. I like reading through them, Victoria, and kind of get a pulse of what fans are thinking.
Oh, yeah. I always talk to the YouTube stream. Hi, YouTube stream.
Hello, YouTube stream. And that is where you can also leave one-timer questions. Fire away, Victoria.
Okay, well, we've mentioned that you can leave questions on the YouTube stream, or you can also at me on Twitter, V to the Victoria with some underscores in there. You'll find me, I promise. But that's where we start things off, because from my Twitter page, someone wants to know, Chuck, hi Chuck, why did Hornets draft Knueppel and then later trade Mark Williams to Phoenix for the rights to draft Liam McNeely from UConn? Con and Liam are basically the same player.
They are similar players. I will say this, though, that this team needs depth everywhere. This team just needs to acquire talent, but also consistent talent. Mark Williams, I think, was a situation, in my eyes, the way I view it, is that they already had traded him away to the Lakers last year. Then that came right after the whole Luka Doncic trade to the Lakers. And the Lakers, even right after the trade deadline, decided to nix it because he, quote-unquote, didn't pass their physical, even though Mark Williams was playing games, and then he came back and was still playing games. So that kind of, I think, threw a wrench into the relationship, I guess you could say. It's like, okay, you guys are clearly looking to move on from me. Let's make that happen this offseason. I think it was just kind of like, all right, the relationship probably had soured. And I think Mark Williams was probably like, all right, I'm not going to re-sign here. If you guys don't want me, that's okay. But I need to go ahead and move on. And I think that's the reason why you saw that trade take place yesterday. Yeah, Knueppel and McNeely do have some similar skill sets. There might be a little bit of redundancy there, but you're also talking about a team that has had consistent injuries in their backcourt with LaMelo Ball, and then even Brandon Miller last year missing a massive chunk of time with injury as well. You can go 1, 2, 3 on the court with Ball, with McNeely, with Miller, with Knueppel. Like, those four guys can play three spots. And again, what we've seen in terms of injuries, you're going to need some more depth and everything in that backcourt. So I get it, and obviously you still have Miles Bridges, but the team needs to build up as much depth as possible. And I mentioned it with Knueppel, you're raising your floor. A lot of teams are like, oh, we got to raise our ceiling and go for the superstar, but you could still bottom out. This team needs to raise its floor before it can think about raising its ceiling, in my eyes.
All right, next up, let's see here. We've got another one. Do we make the first-round pick this NHL draft, or we as in Canes, or will it be traded today/tomorrow? If traded, whom do you think is most likely? And I think it cut off, but I'm assuming he's asking most likely will be picked.
Do they make their pick, the Carolina Hurricanes? Again, I think that's the 29th pick overall in the first round on Friday's draft, tomorrow's draft. I don't think they make the pick because this team is just notorious for trading back in the draft. We saw them last year trade their first round pick and accumulate a whole bunch more picks and continue to move back down the draft and continue to find really good value. And people always look at their draft and go, I look at Carolina, crushed it again with their draft. And that's how they've been building their prospect pool. So I would not be surprised if they trade their pick in the draft and move down. I would not be surprised by that, Victoria. Now, if there's a player that might be, if they trade the pick that they could go for this year in terms of like a current player, it would have to be like, do you use your first round pick this year to go after William Karlsson? I don't know. I mean, that might be even too steep of a price even for William Karlsson, in all honesty. I don't think that draft pick gets traded this year for a player because it would have to happen in the next 36 hours. Not even the next 30 hours. You would have to see that pick move. I don't see it moving right now in the next 30 hours for another current player. I think the draft picks that you might see more likely moved would be 2026 first round picks, because the 2026 first round, or just that draft as a whole, from my understanding, is the one that people are more excited about, because I think not only is the higher end a little bit better, but I feel like there's more depth in that draft. So I think the 2026 picks actually might be more valuable than the 2025 first round picks. But don't be surprised if that pick gets traded tomorrow and they move down into the second round and get like 7 more picks as a result of it. But I don't see them making that pick simply for that reason based off their draft history.
All right, another YouTube Canes question from Matthew. You mentioned yesterday that Thomas Hertel would not be a good fit, in your opinion, for the Canes as a number 2 center. In your opinion, who would be an ideal number 2 center that the Canes could realistically acquire this offseason?
I mean, ideal, obviously, it would be Connor McDavid. No, we're talking about realistic expectation here. I don't know. Buffalo traded J.J. Peterka yesterday, who's a winger, but we did see him get moved yesterday for a couple of players from Utah. And because there are a couple of restricted free agents that I think are not interested in re-signing, so they're trying to move those guys to acquire players right now, including Bowen Byram, who's a defenseman. I would love to see Logan Thompson be that guy. I really would. I don't know if the asking price is just going to be too steep from Buffalo for a player that's 27 years old, making less than $7.5 million a year over the next 5 years than Logan Thompson, and produces the way he does. It's a really steep asking price. Now, Carolina can afford it, and I actually will be okay if they do it. And if they get Logan Thompson, I mean, he and Aho are like, if you say Aho's the number 2 seed, cool, I don't care. Like that, those are your top 2 centers. I would love that. Absolutely love that. Now, it will cost you picks, prospects, and maybe even a player or 2 currently on your roster to do it, but I think it'd be worth it if Buffalo's willing to make that move. Now, Buffalo's been middling in purgatory for years now. They haven't made the playoffs in like 14 years. It's been a minute since they made the playoffs. Who knows what they're going to do? Again, I also will throw this out there. It might not cost you a whole lot to get William Karlsson from the Vegas Golden Knights. It might not cost you a whole lot. Who doesn't have the offensive production as Tage Thompson, but can be a really good number 2 center because he can produce a little bit and also is really good defensively. It's the Adam Gold Show. More on the NBA draft next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Tim here for All-Star Dog Training. We all know Ripken, the legend, right? The best trained dog in the Triangle. You see him at Bulls games. You see him at state games grabbing the tee. What you may not know is Michael from All-Star Dog Training, the man behind the dog, has won awards like the Voters' Choice Award for Best Pet Training Service 8 years in a row, PBS Emmy Award, hundreds of 5-star reviews. Michael, what else have you done to garner this attention?
We try to help every dog in the Triangle. That's our goal, and I know Ripken will want every dog to be an all-star just like him. So that's why we came out with All-Star Dog Training.
All-Star Dog Training, it's a rebrand in honor of Ripken. What services do you offer?
At our 5,000 square foot facility in Apex, we offer private lessons, day train programs, puppy classes, and even board and trains. But always remember, we'll come to you too.
And it's the same training that not only helped Ripken be such a well-trained legend, but also his full-blooded brother, Champ, who's taken over?
Champ will be there this season for the Durham Bulls.
Same All-Star team, new All-Star name. Check them out at allstardogtraining.com.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine and More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover's accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles' Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun fried whole breast tenderloin fillets, choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
For more than 75 years, University of Maryland Global Campus has given you the opportunity to build your next success. Choose from more than 135 degree and certificate programs in career-relevant fields like business, healthcare, data analytics, cybersecurity, and more. Plus, we offer 100% online and hybrid courses, personalized advising, and lifetime career services. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it.
That one back, that one going, gone!
Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
This could be the best situation for a number 1 draft pick to ever step in the NBA. Not saying Dallas will be a championship team immediately, but if everybody's healthy and everybody is right, Cooper Flagg does not have to worry about having that kind of pressure to lead the way. In 2 years, this will be his team. He can make a difference from day one, but in 2 years, this will be his franchise.
I'll say it again, Victoria. Not many athletes that are drafted number 1 overall, no matter what the sport is, are going into great situations or even good situations. Cooper Flagg, as the number 1 overall pick officially last night out of Duke to the Dallas Mavericks, overall is going into a pretty decent, if not good, situation.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got guys with championship experience around him with Klay Thompson, Anthony Davis. Now, these guys are on the back 9 of their careers. Klay Thompson's, even recently as a couple of years ago, has suffered some major lower body injuries. And then Anthony Davis he's always hurt.
Yeah.
But he's also a super talented player.
Right. And that's good for him, too. He can be around guys who aren't new, who are vets to the business. Because, Cooper's like 18.
Yeah, literally.
He's
literally.
still a kid, sort of. So.
He'll be 18 when the season tips off.
Yeah. So they can teach him a lot of different things.
There's a lot of things that he can learn. But overall, the situation is good. And actually, let's go ahead and get right into take 2. Starting about the NBA draft last night. By the way, Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria Vodnecker producing the show, as always. And I will say this again about Flagg, about going to Dallas. He's certainly going to be looked at as obviously the key piece of their future. And Dallas fans obviously are still stung from the Luka Doncic trade because Luka Doncic was their guy for years, and Luka Doncic carried that team all the way to the finals and on the brink of a championship. Like, that's something that Luka Doncic did on his own pretty much. And they saw, obviously, years ago, nearly 20 years ago, when Dirk Nowitzki was the guy and dragged that team to a championship. This is something, it was 15 years ago, whatever it was. But nonetheless, now are Dallas fans going to look at Cooper Flagg and say, hey, Dirk brought us a title, Luka almost did it, and then they end up trading him away. Now, what are you going to go do? Now, obviously, a lot of that's going to, pressure, some of that's going to fall on their general manager, Nico Harrison, because he's the one that's made these moves. But the pressure in terms of actually winning games on his own isn't going to fall fully on Cooper Flagg's shoulders. Now, he's going to be a key cog, obviously, but when you have Derek Lively at center, Gafford, who they signed to a contract extension, also as a big man down low, you have P.J. Washington, you have Anthony Davis, even some of the other guys like, again, Klay Thompson's that I mentioned, some of the other depth guys like Max Christie, Spencer Dinwiddie. They're already good pieces already on this team. And then Kyrie Irving coming back from his ACL injury, we'll see what he's like. He anticipates or is hoped to be back by January, I believe is what Kyrie said. But if he's not back till February, Cooper Flagg doesn't have to be the man right away. And that's a great spot for him to be in. He's a super unselfish player. Obviously puts teammates in front of himself just by watching him play. Now he can go take over a game. We've seen him do that, but he's not going to have to do that on a night in and night out basis. So Cooper Flagg walks into a tremendous situation. I mean, that team was already built to make the playoffs already. Now, they were pushing for a playoff spot last year before Davis had his injuries and obviously Kyrie getting hurt himself, but that's overall a really, really good situation to be in. Victoria, let's actually go ahead and pull up the clip talking about Cooper Flagg from Alan Hahn. Alan Hahn, ESPN, talking about Cooper Flagg. When he goes to the Dallas Mavericks, doesn't have to have the burden of leading this team right from the get-go.
He is part of a team that's got veterans on it, that has expectations. But the most important thing is he's going to a team that's going to look at him at 15 years old and say, hey, kid, we need you to lead us. He doesn't have to do that. He has to figure out how he fits in at both ends of the floor, which he does bring to the game, and yet not have to have the burden of carrying a franchise at such a young age. I think for him, that's valuable. For that organization, it's also huge because you talk about development while also winning. When do you ever see that in the NBA?
Rarely. You don't. You don't see it hardly in any pro sports. Even look at football. Go to the NFL. Like how often do you see the number one overall pick going into a tremendous situation? You don't.
That's why they have the number one pick.
Exactly. You got the number one overall pick because you stunk.
Uh-huh.
Now, granted, there's the whole lottery thing, for the NBA, and the same thing with the NHL and all that. They have the draft lotteries and such. So, it was like a 1.8% chance that the Dallas Mavericks were going to get this pick as is. But generally, you're looking at being in a terrible situation. Like Bryce Young a couple years ago when he got drafted by the Carolina Panthers. Terrible situation. I mean, do we remember the 2023 season? I know if you're a Carolina Panthers fan, you're quickly like, I got that out of my head as fast as possible because that was a complete disaster. Or heck, Cam Ward, the number one overall pick in this year's NFL draft, going into the Tennessee Titans. Not a great situation overall. Cooper Flagg, the exception in this one. Now, what can he be as a player? Can he be sometimes be the primary ball handler on possessions? Maybe if he's out there a little bit with the second unit, does he become the primary ball handler? Especially now, again, Kyrie Irving dealing with his ACL injury and his recovery. Do you put the ball in Cooper Flagg's hands a little bit more? Maybe he doesn't initiate the offense, but maybe the ball starts with someone else, then it gets played to Cooper Flagg, and then he can be part of the secondary options on an offensive set. Like playing not necessarily to him, but you could play through him, possibly as well. We'll see. He doesn't have to bring the ball up the floor, but hey, as soon as you start a pick and roll, you get the ball in his hands and let him go create and do something. So what is his comparison? What is his comp? What can he be? Seth Greenberg, ESPN, gives a pretty high praise for Cooper Flagg.
Paul George, Scottie Pippen, a little bit of Grant Hill in him, but Scottie Pippen, he could be a play starter, he could be a playmaker. He has the ability to make shots. He's got defensive range. His feel for the game, his competitive spirit, his understanding of taking what the defense gives him, impacting the game defensively with his length. Like I call it defensive range because of his length, his 7-foot wingspan. To me, it's absolutely, he impacts the game on both ends. The guy is so versatile, but he never chases it. He takes everything the game gives him. He takes over games without having to take over games. He takes over games sometimes by being a play starter, sometimes by being a playmaker, sometimes by being scoring, sometimes by getting post-ups or getting a defensive rebound and initiating a fast break. That's who he is.
He has the ideal length, athleticism, shooting. He's like the combination of all of it that the NBA wants to have. especially as like playing the 3, playing the small forward position on the wing, can do all the ball handling, can shoot from the outside, is not afraid to go into the post, great defender. He's got a little bit of all of that. Now, Jay Billis of ESPN also discussed what makes Cooper Flagg, what separates him, puts him apart from everyone else.
What sets him apart is he plays at both ends of the floor. He's equally as impactful as a defender as he is as an offensive player. He's a complete basketball player. A guy who can be a playmaker at both ends, elite in transition as a finisher, an elite defender, and he's an improved shooter. Early on in his career at Duke, people were questioning his perimeter shot, but in ACC play, he knocked down 44% of his three-point attempts and averaged over 21 points per game. In transition, he is truly outstanding. He's got vision as a passer, but he can also take it to the rack and finish above the rim and do it through contact. But his level as a competitor is something that's rarely seen, in my view, for an 18-year-old kid.
He's a special player. He's going to be, hopefully, I hope, just a long-time consistent player in the league.
Yeah, and he's fun to watch.
He really is.
It'll be interesting to see.
And he really is, from watching him at Duke this season, he really is an unselfish player.
Oh, big time.
He really is an unselfish player.
There were times where, especially in the tournament, people were like screaming at him, "It's okay to shoot because you can do it," you know? Because he was that unselfish. But yeah, he'll be, I can't wait to see how he meshes with Dallas.
I think it's going to be fun, and he's going to be on national television quite a bit. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Coming up here in about 15 minutes, Victoria, I'm going to throw out some numbers of what a potential Logan Stankoven contract extension might look like for the Carolina Hurricanes. I'm going to just what my thoughts are. Like, what he's going into the final year of his entry-level contract. On July 1st, he could sign a contract extension with the team. Now, he doesn't have to right away. There's still restricted free agency that he could possibly go into after this upcoming season. But if the Carolina Hurricanes wanted to lock him up on a contract right now, what would it potentially look like? We'll have that in 15 minutes. But also, we found out during this Board of Governors meeting with the NHL, we saw this last night, hearing more about it this morning. The Board of Governors of the NHL meeting with the Players Association. They're working on the next collective bargaining agreement on both sides. And we might actually hear something about it tomorrow, which is a great thing. We have the CBAs, getting extended. But one thing we learned in 2028, Victoria, the World Cup of Hockey coming back. We saw the four nations this past season,
which was
back in February,
amazing,
which is awesome.
Yes.
Now this upcoming February we have the Olympics, but the World Cup of Hockey, 8 countries represented. The NHL is actually already soliciting cities to make their bids to be hosts. Hey, why not bring it to the great state of North Carolina? Why not? Who says no? Probably not going to happen, but who says no? World Cup of Hockey is coming back. Best on best. 8 nations. We're going to see it in 2028. Obviously, we have the Olympics coming up. I'm super excited. So we're going to have a blind ranking in honor of the World Cup of Hockey coming back. A special major event. We'll have a blind ranking of the top sporting events. Next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. We're in the offseason, but it doesn't mean me and my co-host, WREL TV's Chris Lee, take a break from our podcast, Panthers Playbook. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on Panthers news as training camp approaches, insights on the rookies, the free agents, and the surprises, plus all the insider info on the upcoming season. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcast or watch on YouTube. Out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Give me a mountain with lots to do. Give me something simple and true. All I need is sunshine and a cool, refreshing Mountain Dew. Yes, so give me my good friends. Give me a dew.
Grab some ice-cold Mountain Dew today.
Mountain Dew.
Join us at Cocoa Booth Amphitheater this 4th of July. Enjoy patriotic music, kids' activities, and fireworks, all with free general admission.
Do your summer plans include travel? Make sure your prep includes more than just flights and hotels. Stay up to date with COVID-19 vaccination, especially if you're 65 or older or have certain health conditions. There have been surges in COVID-19 in the summer, too. It's important to help protect yourself no matter your destination. So check eligibility and schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
The Jeep deals are on at John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington. Save as much as $17,000 off a shiny new 2024 Jeep Wrangler. How about a 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee L Limited for over $10,000 off with so many to choose from? Got your eye on the 2025 Jeep Wagoneer S? Well, you should, because John Heister's got them for over $12,000 off, all in stock. Go anywhere, do anything. Just get off your keister and get to John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington.
Progressive Home Quote Explorer lets you easily compare rates, so shopping for insurance might be the easiest part of owning a home. Definitely easier than this.
Psst, honey. Honey! What? Shh, there's a salesman walking up the driveway.
Oh no, he's got a clipboard.
What do we do?
Get down.
Down?
On the floor, you...
Shoot, did he see us?
Why are you breathing so loud?
Home ownership isn't easy, but with Progressive's Home Quote Explorer, shopping for home insurance is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
This is Adam Gold.
And I did have to use two screens at one point, or a couple of points, and I don't like it. I can't watch two games at the same time.
There's a lot going on.
I'm sorry. I'm incapable of doing that. Because there were times where, I forgot this other game was on in front of me.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
So, coming up here in about 10 minutes or so, Victoria, I'm going to give you all a breakdown. What I think, just kind of looking around, comparing some current Canes players and some other guys that just signed some contract extensions in the NHL. If the Carolina Hurricanes wanted to make a contract offer, an extension for Logan Stankoven this offseason, which they could do starting July 1st because he's going into the final year of his entry-level contract, what would that number look like? But in honor of the World Cup of Hockey that's going to be returning in 2028, and obviously we have the NHL's best players are going to be going and playing in the Olympics for the first time in a long time in 2026. Again, the World Cup of Hockey stuff was announced last night and early this morning with the whole collective bargaining agreements or the CBA talks that are going on between the Players Association and the League Board of Governors down in L.A. just ahead of the NHL draft, which is tomorrow. We have a blind ranking, Victoria. What we like to do with a blind ranking is, Victoria, you're going to throw out 5 big-time sporting events. They could be things like the Super Bowl, the Masters, a Final Four, the PGA Championship, whatever it might be, a World Series, Stanley Cup, whatever it is, and I have to rank them blind. I don't know what events you're going to give me, Victoria, but let's go ahead and start things off. Blind ranking major sporting events that take place.
Okay. Well, kicking things off, let's start with the Kentucky Derby.
Oh, the Kentucky Derby. This is the Kentucky Derby for me is an excuse for people to just put on crazy hats and drink mint juleps.
Yes.
I don't care about horse racing. I'm just going to go and say it out there. I don't care about horse racing.
I think more people would care out here if we could bet on it. We can't do it in the state of North Carolina.
And horse racing, that is. Yes, there's obviously that too, which is really all it's become. It's just a betting thing. It's really all it has been. But I couldn't name a horse that's in these things. It's funny, like when the Kentucky Derby rolls around and see so many people in sports media have horse racing takes. I'm like, do you really pay attention towards? If that's your thing, fine. It's not for me. Again, it's just like, all right, here's 2.5 minutes of horses running around a track. There's so much build up for that. Again, it's more about the party than it is about the actual event itself, like the actual race. So for me, Kentucky Derby, super low. I'm tempted to throw it at 5, Victoria. You know what? Fine. Kentucky Derby, blind ranking, you're going right to number 5.
Yeah.
Right to number 5.
All right, that's fine.
Overrated event.
So, next up, we just had one of these recently, but it's important for a lot of people if you like racing. Indy 500.
Indy 500 is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of history when it comes to the Indy 500. This is a tough one. Indy 500, it's one of the most iconic sporting events that we have because it's always around, Memorial Day and everything like that. We actually have a couple co-workers in our building that are actually from Indianapolis in that area.
Yep.
And
real sad about the Pacers.
Yeah, they're sad about that, but they love the Indy 500. It's an absolute event. I'd much rather watch the Indy 500 than I would the Kentucky Derby. Indy 500 is a big time event. It's probably outside of the Daytona 500, might be the biggest racing event that we have in the country. Some people might say it's even bigger than the Daytona 500, depending on what your preference is. Not to diss NASCAR or anything like that, because the Daytona 500 is phenomenal in and of itself. I'm not going to go higher than 3. I'm tempted to put it at 4, Victoria, but I'll probably go and put the Indy 500 at number 3 on the blind ranking.
All right. Well, next up, we've got, not too far from now, the Winter Olympics in 2026.
I love the Winter Olympics.
Me too.
Winter Olympics is great. And because it's so special, because obviously the Olympics you get every 4 years, obviously alternating, every 2 years you get the summer and winter. But Winter Olympics, I'm probably going to go ahead and put it number 2. I'm going to put the number 2, I'm going to put the Winter Olympics because the notion of actually competing for your country and representing your country in athletic competition really is a special thing. And the events that we see in the Olympics, obviously, we're only getting every 4 years.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I love watching ice hockey. It's one of my favorite sports. I love playing it still. And Olympic ice hockey to me is super special and super fun, especially even on the women's side, watching U.S. and Canada on the women's side. Obviously, I know figure skating is a major thing on the Winter Olympics, but even seeing the slalom, the downhill skiing,
I love
bobsled. Yeah, bobsleds.
Snowboarding.
One of my favorite, I think it's the biathlon, where it's like the cross country skiing and and the rifle shooting. I'm like, who would think to combine the two? But you know what? 100 years ago when people were hunting, they're on skis and might hunt. Obviously with the rifle and all that kind of stuff.
I'm exhausted for those people, by the way.
I'm like,
they look like little penguins going up and down.
They do. They really do. So I'm going to go Winter Olympics number 2 on this blind ranking. So on the events that you've given so far, the Kentucky Derby, I put it number 5.
Yep.
The Indy 500, I put it number 3. Winter Olympics, I put it number 2. On the blind ranking, what's the next one here?
Okay, well, along those same lines, because a lot of people also like the Summer Olympics, which will be in 2028.
Okay, so you're throwing Summer Olympics out here now.
That's tough because all we have is 1 and 4.
I just have number 1 and 4. I'm like, I don't want to put Summer Olympics at number 4. But I had to put it number 1. I put Summer Olympics at number 1. It's the same type thing. I actually really enjoy. I probably like more Summer Olympic events as a whole than I do Winter Olympic events. Because I love the way they actually break it up, because they do a lot of the swimming and gymnastics stuff early, and then the latter part of the Summer Olympics is when you get the track and field. And the swimming stuff is fun to watch.
That's why I love the Summer Olympics, because as a former swimmer, I'm interested.
But for me, I'm like, as a hockey player, I'm like, but the Winter Olympics is amazing. I'll probably put Summer Olympics number 1, because I feel like the Summer Olympics has the true classic Olympic events. Like the track and field to me like screams Olympics. And I really wish I think they maybe have brought back, the Greco-Roman wrestling. Remember, they took wrestling out of.
They did.
I was like, wait a second. Wrestling to me feels like a classic Olympic sport.
Yeah.
So I'll put Summer Olympics at number 1. I don't get as much into the gymnastics as some other people do, but I'll still enjoy it and appreciate it for what it is. But the swimming, the track and field events, even the basketball, FIBA basketball is such a different style of play than what we get in the NBA. And there's actually a couple of FIBA rules that I really like.
Yeah.
So it's a different style of play of basketball that I really do enjoy.
Yeah.
So I'll put Summer Olympics number 1, which
like
leaves
the
us
team
number
volleyball
4.
too. Volleyball's great.
So
they
good.
even have like ping pong or whatever.
Yeah,
it's
they do.
called.
They have table tennis, the whole deal, badminton. There's all kinds of stuff that takes place.
Yeah.
And of course, who could forget our breakdancing?
Of
sorry,
course.
breaking.
Or whatever that was. Yes. Okay. Well, number 4 is now the Super Bowl.
Oh, come on.
I can't.
Come on.
I can't not throw the Super Bowl out there at big
I feel
events.
like you trolled me again, Victoria. You're like, oh, he's left 4 open. I got him right here. You wait.
Oh, just wait. Super Bowl's not number 4, but it is number.
Yeah, it's number 4. It's number 4 on this blind ranking. It is. It's number 4 on this blind ranking. Again, that's why I call it a blind ranking. I have to anticipate and guess. Well, I will say the one I definitely got correct was Kentucky Derby at number 5.
Yeah.
Kentucky Derby number 5. You could stay right there.
Yeah.
You could park yourself right there. I feel like Super Bowl at number 4. And there's some people that get more into the Olympics than they do into the Super Bowl, and that's totally understandable. Because the Olympics are a special thing that come every 4 years.
Doesn't happen as often.
Yeah, Super Bowl, you're getting it every year. Same thing with Indy 500.
Sometimes
you're getting that every single
you're getting
year.
the same team, so.
There's that, too. Like, I got to watch the Chiefs again.
There's the Chiefs.
Cool.
For a while, it was the Patriots.
I know. Oh, look, Tom Brady in another Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. That's crazy.
So that's kind of the fun part about it. So there's the blind ranking right there of major sporting events in honor of the World Cup of Hockey returning in 2028.
Yep.
It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Coxon again for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria Vodenecker producing the show, as always. By the way, if you miss any of the show, go check it out on the Best of the Adam Gold Show podcast. It's wherever you get your podcasts. Also, 99.9 The Fan in Raleigh is the flagship station for the Adam Gold Show. If you search them on YouTube, again, go to youtube.com. If you open up the app on your phone, you can watch it on your television. You can stream this live. You can interact with us in the comments section. Interact with other people in the comment section. Actually, I see something I enjoy seeing people do. It's just kind of go back and forth talking with each other, spitting out ideas, disagreeing with each other. That's fun. We want you to be part of this as part of the community as well. So make sure you subscribe there. Again, go on YouTube, search 99.9 The Fan, or you can search The Adam Gold Show as well. You can find it there as well, and make sure you subscribe. And again, leave comments. We enjoy the interaction. So a little bit ago, Victoria, I said I'm going to give you guys an idea of numbers of what a Logan Stankoven contract could look like. So I actually went down to the regular season of games that Logan Stankoven played in the Carolina Hurricanes uniform. Played 19 games in the regular season this past year for the Canes. And obviously we saw what he did in the playoffs as well, scoring 5 goals this postseason for Carolina. But I went based off regular season numbers. And I went off of different things such as I used numbers from Natural Stat Trick. Okay, naturalstattrick.com does a lot of the analytics breakdowns of things like individual expected goals, high danger scoring chances, different other possession metrics like Corsi and Fenwick and things along those lines. So I did a breakdown of if you take what Logan Stankoven did over hit the 19 games that he played for Carolina this past season in the regular season after the Mikko Rantanen trade, coming from Dallas. If you took those numbers and averaged that out over an 82-game season, okay? Take those numbers, what would it look like over a full year? And I did a comparison to other current Carolina Hurricanes players. For example, if you took Logan Stankoven, his individual expected goals at the rate at which he played in the regular season last year for the Carolina Hurricanes, and you average that out over an 82-game season, his individual expected goals, 31.3. So the way he played with Carolina this past season, the scoring chances that he generated when he was on the ice, his individual expected goals would be 31.3. How does that compare to other Carolina Hurricanes? Well, Seth Jarvis, if you took the numbers that he put up this past season, now he did miss 9 games because of an upper body injury, but if you take Seth Jarvis's numbers and expand that over to an 80-game season or 82-game season, based on what he did this year, 35.4. Andrei Svechnikov, individual expected goals. Take the average of what he did per game, put it over an 82-game season this past year, 30.6. So slightly more than Andrei Svechnikov, lower than Seth Jarvis. Now you take a guy like Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Now Jesperi Kotkaniemi playing center, not wing, but still a forward position. Kotkaniemi's numbers over an 82-game season this past year, expected goals individually, 15. So slightly more than double what Kotkaniemi is doing. Slightly more than what Svech did this past year, but a little bit less than Jarvis. If you look at individual high-danger scoring chances, Logan Stankoven's 129. Again, this is averaged out over a full season. Seth Jarvis, 133. Andrei Svechnikov, 108. Jesperi Kotkaniemi, 62. So, again, we're still seeing significantly higher than Jesperi Kotkaniemi, slightly more than Andrei Svechnikov, and less than Seth Jarvis. Now, some of the other possession metrics in terms of puck possession, like Corsi and Fenwick and those kinds of things, more on par with Andrei Svechnikov, significantly less than Seth Jarvis, much higher than Jesperi Kotkaniemi in some of those possession metrics. Now, if you look at some of the team numbers expected for Jesperi Kotkaniemi, Andrei Svechnikov, Seth Jarvis compared to Logan Stankoven, so the expected goals for with Logan Stankoven on the ice in the Carolina Hurricanes uniform this past year, again, averaged out over the course of an 82-game season, looking at about 85 goals scored with him on the ice. That's compared to Seth Jarvis, 114 goals scored with him on the ice. Andrei Svechnikov, 101. So some of the individual numbers might be higher, but some of the overall numbers with guys on the ice as a team, not quite as high. Part of that is also a factor of who you're playing with. Now, Logan Stankoven, if he's on the ice playing with Jordan Staal and Jordan Martinook, maybe those expected goals numbers as a group aren't quite as high. But if you put Logan Stankoven like Andrei Svechnikov or Seth Jarvis was playing alongside Sebastian Aho, well, those numbers you expect to elevate. You also have to factor in time on ice, Victoria. So Logan Stankoven in the Carolina Hurricanes uniform in the regular season last year, those 19 games, 15 minutes and 5 seconds roughly of ice time. Seth Jarvis, 19 minutes and 21 seconds. Andrei Svechnikov, 17:07. Jesperi Kotkaniemi, 14:04. So that is kind of the thing that you're thinking about in terms of these numbers. I also look at a guy like J.J. Peterka, who was just traded from the Buffalo Sabres to the Utah Mammoth yesterday, like last night, like midnight basically. Roughly the same age. He's a year older than Logan Stankoven. But J.J. Peterka in his career has back-to-back 25-plus goal seasons. He had 27 goals and 41 assists last year for Buffalo, and the year before that in 23-24, he had 28 goals and 22 assists. So back-to-back 50-plus point season, including 68 points last year for Buffalo. 23 years old. Logan Stankoven, on a per-game basis, has a higher goals per 60 minutes than J.J. Peterka did this past year. He has a higher points per 60 minutes than what J.J. Peterka had this past year, skating less time on ice per game than J.J. Peterka. Some of the possession numbers are actually better for Logan Stankoven. Now, the reason why I bring up J.J. Peterka, again, similar age, Peterka putting up better numbers, he just signed a 5-year contract extension at $7.7 million. Andrei Svechnikov for the Carolina Hurricanes is making $7.75 million per year. Now, Seth Jarvis's contract really average for a year is $7.9 million, but some of that money is deferred, so his cap hit is lower. But his really, truly, his average per year, he signed an 8-year contract worth $63.2 million. Svechnikov's contract, 8 years, $62. Now, Jesperi Kotkaniemi making $4.82 million a year. So where does Logan Stankoven kind of factor in? He's an ascending player who's young, who also fits well into the Carolina Hurricanes system. Logan Stankoven's numbers from goals per 60 minutes, points per 60 minutes, possession puck ratings like Corsi and those kinds of things, all elevated when he started playing with the Carolina Hurricanes. Again, it's a player that fits well into his system. Logan Stankoven will be eligible for unrestricted free agency in the year 2030. So how do you get all the way from now to the 2030 season? So we're talking, he's already under contract through 2026, this upcoming year, because he's on an entry-level contract. So you're going at 27, 28, 29, 30. So 4 years before he's eligible for unrestricted free agency. If you were to sign him to a 4-year deal, in my eyes, let's say actually make it a 5-year contract. The longer the contract, the more average annual value. If you sign him to a 4-year contract or a 5-year contract, it's probably going to have to be, Victoria, probably at $6 million a year or 6.5 if you want to do a 4 or 5-year contract. If you want to sign him to 8, it's probably going to cost you at least 7, is my guess. Now, if you can go 8 times 7 for Logan Stankoven, anticipating that he could be a 25-goal, 50-plus point guy a year.
Yeah, do it.
Or even a 60-point guy. If he can do that, if you anticipate that's what he can become, if he can put up numbers like J.J. Peterka, then 8 years at $7 million a year.
It's a deal.
I'd take that deal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, if you want to sign him like on a bridge deal that would get him to unrestricted free agency, so you're talking about a 4-year contract, maybe you could do 4 times 5 or 4 times 5.5. But that's how much it's probably going to cost you for Logan Stankoven on a contract. That's the way I view it. Because Stankoven might look at it and say, hey, you know what? Go ahead and lock me up for 8 years. That'll take me basically to the age of 30 or 31. And then I can go into free agency again after that and have that security for 8 years. He might be all for it. He also might say, you know what? I'll sign for 4 more years on a contract extension. So then I'm here for Carolina for 5 years because obviously he still has the final year of his entry-level contract. Take him to age 27, 28, and then he can go hit free agency then or re-sign another contract extension with the Canes if things still work out. He might look to go that route too. Obviously, there are certain options on the table. Every player has their preference on what they're looking for. But if you want to sign Logan Stankoven to a 4-year contract extension, in my eyes, it's probably going to be around $5.5 million. If you want to sign him all the way to 8, you might be at $7 million a year, based off what we've seen other guys signing for right now. Just because if you look at the numbers of what he did last year in a Canes uniform and put that out over 82 games, it's right up there, some of the advanced numbers, with Svechnikov. Not quite as high as Jarvis, but it's getting up there. And again, a growing and ascending player. So it might cost you $7 million a year over 8 years. Are you willing to do that now, or do you wait? You have his contract rights over the next several years with restricted free agency, so you don't have to necessarily make that move right away. But Carolina has shown, the Hurricanes, that they are willing to sign their young players to long-term contracts, which is appealing to a guy like Logan Stankoven. He even said it himself. Said it himself.
And I love that he wants to stay here, too.
He does.
That's the other thing is, like, we want guys who want to be here long-term because that's what's helped us stay in the playoffs and have that appearance every single year is that we have our guys, our core guys, and they stick with us, and then the new ones gel with them as we go. And like, that's ideal. So I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Stanky and janky. I don't know about janky, but let's keep stanky.
Yeah, Stanky can stay around for sure. Mark Tankowski in the final year of his contract, making $800,000 a year. You want to talk about a bargain?
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably going to be the fourth line center this year for the team, which is, hey, great. Especially the way he plays. Big physical guy, skates really well, can help kill penalties and all that stuff. And obviously chipped in some goal scoring last season too. But again, I'll throw the number back out there. In my eyes, a 4-year contract extension for Logan Stankoven on top of the final year of his entry-level contract deal. If he signed a 4-year extension, it'll probably be around 5.5. If you go 8 years, might come closer to 7. Would he do 8 times 6.5? Maybe. Maybe not. If you feel like he can truly be a consistent 25 goal scorer, consistently as like a middle 6 forward scoring 25 goals a year, if he can consistently be that, $7 million a year for the next 8 years, knowing you're going to get 25 goals and 50-plus points every year, might be worth it. Might be worth it. Maybe he needs to be more of a 60-point guy. We'll see. But this also ties in, Victoria, who's going to get him the puck? Because if he's not playing with Sebastian Aho, who's going to get him the puck? This is where they talk about they need a boost. They need to bolster their center position.
Mm-hmm.
And it can find somebody that can be a playmaker in the middle that can get Stankoven the puck.
Yeah.
That can put pucks on net where Stankoven can clean up in front. I think Stankoven and Taylor Hall as a wing pair work great together. They think the game. Even Taylor Hall said they think the game very similarly.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great thing for Logan Stankoven to play with. Who can get them the puck is the major question.
And both of those guys gelled with the team very well and very quickly.
Yeah.
And that is very impressive. But with like having a whole season with these guys working together, that's huge too. So just seeing them step in at the end of last season and how well they were, I am very excited to see what pieces they might bring in with these guys. Like, okay, this is my home. Let's establish some roots and get a cup.
Let's go get that cup. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Going into a full season of playing in this system, knowing what to expect as opposed to adapting to it on the fly, I think because you saw in the regular season Logan Stankoven adapting to it on the fly, and then when he really truly got used to it is when the playoffs rolled around, and that's when you started to see him shine and flourish. But if he has like a true playmaking center that can really get him the puck, watch out.
Yes.
Might be a good one. Might be a guy, again, that you probably want to try and lock up right now if you can. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria Vodenecker producing the show. We've talked a lot of sports, Victoria. We got to make sure we take care of our bodies. We need to stretch. Not only take care of our bodies, let's take care of our wallets. We got to play some bets next.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
You'll be one smart cookie when you try Bluebell Cookie Cake Ice Cream. A sweet cream ice cream loaded with chocolate chip cookie cake pieces and swirls of chocolate and vanilla icing. This cookie cake ice cream really takes the cake.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. This month, we're talking about a major collaboration that's making waves in Iredell County. Kim Holland, Development Coordinator for the Iredell Health Foundation, tells us about Whole 3.
The goal of the collaborative is about addressing the complex and interwoven challenges that many families in Iredell County face. And, things like poverty, lack of access to health care, and educational disparities. So it's designed as truly a collaborative. It's community-led initiative. We're bringing together schools, nonprofits, health systems, and families to build a system that actually works for families, not just around them.
Learn more and join our latest conversations on the state of healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
My name is Gregory, and I am the primary caregiver for our 5 grandchildren. We have worked to be a source of love and stability in their lives, and Medicaid has been a source of stability for us. Medicaid helped with all the visits to the doctor, pharmacy, dentist, orthodontist, mental health therapist, and it has helped our grandchildren grow healthy and strong. Our grandkids call me Papa or Pop Pop, and I'm speaking up to protect NC Medicaid.
Learn more at ncchild.org/speakup. That's ncchild.org/speakup.
Healthcare? Why?
Why is it so hard?
Healthcare is broken.
At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, we get it.
Really?
Really. That's why we're making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
Really?
Really. We're making plans easier to navigate by putting all your benefits, prescriptions, and details on your computer and phone. Convinced?
No, but it's a start.
We'll take it. Blue Cross North Carolina, making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
As public power customers, we experience fewer outages and faster restoration than customers of other electric providers. But the benefits of having a locally owned electric system go far beyond unbeaten reliability. Our local public power employees support our community, providing electric hookups for events, installing and maintaining ballpark lights, holiday lights, traffic lights, street lights, and more. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's the value of public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
When people put their feet under a table, it means more than just consuming food. Getting the restaurant back open, that meant to the community a lot of normalcy. The public health department checked the wells so that we knew where we could get water that was able to be used.
And it was neighbor helping neighbor, and I'm so proud to work in this little small county.
NC Public Health. Everywhere, every day, everyone.
To some, a baby's babbling doesn't mean much. But little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Ad Council.
This is Adam Gold.
He said he could talk about his golf game. He did say it wasn't great, and I said, hey, no judgment here. I'm a drive shacker and a putt-putter myself.
None of us are good. Even those of us that are good aren't really good.
Right, yeah.
We're just not.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
Round 2 of the NBA draft is tonight. Charlotte Hornets have a couple of picks early, picks 33 and pick 34 overall in the draft, which is just the 3rd and 4th pick of the second round. Might be able to get a good player or two that's still floating around out there tonight. But Victoria, as we are going through the rigors of the NBA draft and the NHL draft starts tomorrow, we've got free agency coming up here for the NHL. We're seeing the NHL making a whole bunch of trades and doing a whole bunch of different bets. We got to make sure we take care of our bodies. Let's hit the 7th inning stretch.
Oh, my goodness, yes. I've been stretching like crazy back here.
I got the quads bothering me a little bit.
Telling you, oh, man, my back. Once you get older.
Trust me, I just had a birthday. I understand.
So I like to look at these back in the day stats just in case there's something that happened like back in the day that's relevant. And I thought this was interesting. So with the NBA draft going on 29 years ago, back in 1996, Allen Iverson was the top pick of the NBA draft. He went to the Philadelphia 76ers. That was also the same year that Kobe Bryant was the 13th pick for our Charlotte Hornets.
That's right. Our
was then
Charlotte
traded
Hornets.
to the Lakers. And Steve Nash also went to the Phoenix Suns that year. Now,
Wow.
I know, right?
What a draft.
29 years
96. Look
ago.
at that. I mean, Allen Iverson was fun to watch.
Yes.
He really was fun to watch.
Yes.
He was so good.
I know. And
AI
then
was the man.
Kobe, too.
And then Kobe was great. Kobe actually took a couple years because Kobe actually, believe it or not, was still 17 when he got drafted.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You got to get like a parent to sign a waiver, basically.
Yeah.
Literally.
Right? It's like when you're too young to get like a piercing and you have to get mom to sign your little waiver.
Right.
I speak from experience. 22 years ago, back in 2003, LeBron James was drafted to the Cleveland Cavaliers as the first pick. 22 years ago. Also in that same draft, Carmelo Anthony drafted third to the Nuggets. And Dwayne Wade drafted fifth to Miami Heat.
And Darko Milicic went second to the Pistons.
Exactly.
Whoops.
Yeah.
That's you want to talk about like 1, 3, and 5. That's a heck. It's a
Yeah.
heck of a group right there as well.
Right.
Yeah, because LeBron. I remember being in high school when he was drafted because a lot of people were like, "Yo, this you see like this heard about this LeBron James guy." The only way you can really catch it if they show like highlights on ESPN. I remember him being in magazines and all that kind of stuff, and there was like a lore around LeBron even back then, because nowadays you can just pull up social media, go on YouTube, whatever it might be, and just watch highlights.
Mhm.
Like it's just all right there. Like if you saw Zion Williamson's mixtape, and all the highlights and stuff on Instagram and everything, long before he even got to college. But with LeBron, it was you kind of had to wait and see. Like, oh wait, they're showing LeBron highlights. You got to kind of wait and see for it. But I remember a lot of my friends and I being infatuated with him just for the simple fact that he was just a year older than my graduating high school class. Because he graduated high school 03, I graduated high school 04. So we're like, wait a second, this guy's doing all this stuff and he's like a year older than us? Like, this is kind of weird. Yeah, it's like, gosh. Okay, back hurts now. Go on.
Exactly. Well, this might help, maybe not your back, but help you sleep better.
Go on. I'm in.
So, and this is like also one of those weird debates, or it's kind of weird to look at this being a fruit, but there might be a fruit that helps you sleep better. So,
Go on.
Penn State did a study, and they have found that avocados might actually help you sleep better.
What? Well, I don't like avocados, so
You
I'm just going to
don't?
continue to not sleep.
I love that. But they have to be in something. Like, I'm not just eating avocados by themselves. But I am a millennial. I do love avocado toast. So researchers had people eat one avocado a day for 6 months, which is a lot, I feel. A lot of avocados. And plus difficult to get them at their peak ripeness, because that's magic too. They found that their sleep improved, also lowered people's cholesterol, and they're not really sure why, but they're just assuming that because it's loaded with things like fiber, potassium, vitamin K, it's got monosaturated fat, like all those good things that you need, that's probably why.
So what they're saying is, Victoria, eating healthy things will help you be healthier.
You be healthy.
Imagine that. Okay.
And it's not an apple a day, it's an avocado a day. So, I don't know. That sounds really expensive, too. And
yeah, you ain't kidding.
Because avocados ain't cheap. So, yes, sleep. It will help with your sleep. I don't know. I kind of want to try this just to see, even though, who knows? Because at that point, you just want it to work after you put the time and effort, money into it. Now, I don't know about trying this, though. This is another one that makes you go, I don't know. And it did come from TikTok, so that might be more reason why you're like,
oh, of course.
I don't know about this. But now people on TikTok are making a new treat. Every now and again, you find a good little recipe. Well, what about eating raw onions?
What?
No, thank you.
I'm sorry, what?
I know. Yeah, excuse you. These people are biting into them like apples. No. But then some are trying to be very sophisticated with it by slicing it to where it's flat, almost maybe like it's an onion chip. I don't know. Then they add lemon juice, a drizzle of olive oil over it, salt, pepper, other spices, maybe everything bagel spice. And then they say that they finish it off with capers, balsamic, and jalapenos for some heat. So does that sound something like you would try?
No.
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 Quick answer, no.
I'm not, like, if I eat like a a burger or a sandwich, I generally don't like onions. I don't like onions on them. Now, if onions are diced up and I'm like roasting potatoes and doing some other things, and that adds a little bit of flavor and like, aroma and all that kind of stuff to it. Like that I'm fine with if it's mixed in with something. Like that's cool. Like if I'm making a chili, onions, cool, hit me.
Yeah.
But
no, it's not an apple.
I'm sorry. I was supposed to say this. Some of y'all trying to be too damn bougie.
Yeah.
Some of y'all trying too hard to be too damn bougie.
TikTok.
Y'all need to get over yourselves.
You know what's not bougie, though?
Winning.
Making good bits.
Making good
Place your bets. Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal in Bushwood, sir, and I never slice.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
Eating raw onion.
Yikes.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah. Hope you're not trying to kiss your spouse after.
Good luck with that.
Gross.
Chew some gum.
Exactly. You know what's not gross?
Winning bets.
Shota is back on the mound today for my Chicago Cubbies. Let's go. He was injured and he is back. Please don't hurt yourself more, but I am excited for this game, so give me my Cubbies to win because they whooped up on those Cardinals yesterday, so let's keep the streak going for Shota. And I'm going to take the over 9 because they've just been scoring all the runs. So that together is plus 175.
Okay. Dodgers are in Colorado taking on the Rockies. Rockies stink. Dodgers can hit the ball really far, and it's in Colorado where the ball can travel very far. I know it's a very dumbed-down version of saying, don't be shocked if the Dodgers put up some homers. Give me over 12.5 runs scored in this game at a minus 104.
Okay, yeah, that could definitely happen.
Why not?
The next up for me, Seattle is going to be in Minnesota taking on the Twins. Seattle is hot right now. They are having a really big season.
So you're talking about this heat wave?
They're not in North Carolina, but it's probably hot there too. They're actually road underdogs. So I'm going to take them plus 120, just outright.
Okay, just straight up outright.
Yep.
All right, there's actually some Major League Baseball games that actually are playing already right now. But coming up here, starting here in about like 15 minutes, the Tampa Bay Rays on the road at the Kansas City Royals. Give me the Rays minus 1.5 at plus 127. Give it to me.
Nice. And last but not least, the Philadelphia Phillies are in Houston taking on the Astros. Give me a former Cubby, Kyle Schwarber, to be an anytime home run hitter. Plus 370.
My final one. Again, I mentioned the Rockies are at home against the Dodgers. The Dodgers can hit the ball far in a stadium that travels really far. Give me Mookie Betts anytime home run here. Mookie Betts anytime home run plus 265. Wall of Sound coming up next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes Dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned, Cajun-fried, whole breast tenderloin fillets, choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles' legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
It's not Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's Tuesday. The very first Tuesday.
New scratch-off tickets are available on the first Tuesday of every month.
Announcer said first Tuesday.
Brand new scratch-offs, brand new fun. Now from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Every first Tuesday. Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline, 877-718-5543.
Find what you love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines. Guides in the know when price is so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Lowe's knows July 4th savings are worth celebrating. Right now, get up to 40% off select major appliances and get an additional 10% off 2 or more select major appliances. Plus, get 3 Scott's Naturescapes 1.5 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. These deals are coming in hot. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 7/9. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places that I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Every second counts in a poison emergency. That's why Poison Help is standing by 24/7 to provide free assistance in over 100 languages. Save Poison Help as a contact in your phone today. Poison Help. 1-800-222-1222.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check for your wallet first before hitting the drive-thru.
$6.
Sorry, forgot my wallet. I have change, though. Here's 40 cents, another 40. Ooh, a bicentennial.
What's that?
Oh, gosh.
Checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
This is the Adam Gold Show.
In the 2002 college football season, Ohio State wins the national championship. That same year, the Carolina Panthers have a losing record. The Panthers opened the next season by playing the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they go to the Super Bowl. In 2014, Ohio State wins the national championship. The Panthers have a losing record. The very next year, the Panthers open up with the Jaguars, and the Panthers go to the Super Bowl. 2024, Ohio State wins the national championship. The Panthers have a losing record. Next year, 2025, the Panthers open up with the Jacksonville Jaguars again.
Maybe it could be a magical run for the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, I would love that so much.
I'm not going to hate it.
That would make my heart so happy.
I don't see it happening. I still think this team obviously has a lot of room to grow, but they are growing, which is a good thing.
It's all I want. Progress.
Yes.
Baby steps.
You know, if they go from just 2 wins a couple years ago with the whole Frank Reich debacle to last year, first year under Dave Canales, finishing strong, 5 wins, but still 3 wins, like 3-win growth. But strong finish to last year. If you can carry that into this year, make it an 8-win season, 9-win. Like if you improve, 3 wins, 3 wins. There's a reason to say that when 2026 rolls around, like, all right, now the expectation, make the damn playoffs.
Right. And if Bryce can start the season off the way he ended it versus the way he started the last season prior, that would be ideal.
That is a big question mark. We're actually going to talk a little bit of Carolina Panthers coming up at 2:30, by the way. We're 4 weeks away.
Yeah.
4 weeks away from training camp.
1 month.
4 weeks away.
Wow.
4 weeks. I'm going to have 4 big things going into the offseason or going into training camp, things that this team needs to figure out. 4 major things. That's coming up at 2:30 today. But until then, Victoria, let's get into the Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
Let's actually make the Wall of Sound all about the NBA draft last night, and specifically state of North Carolina. We saw a lot of guys get drafted yesterday, from Drake Powell out of the University of North Carolina, also from Pittsburgh, went to Northwood High School, got drafted 22nd overall, is going to be going to the Brooklyn Nets. We also saw Khaman Maluach out of Duke yesterday get drafted number 10 overall. He's going to go to the Phoenix Suns. We saw Cooper Flagg go number 1 overall to the Dallas Mavericks, but also number 4 overall, staying in the state of North Carolina out of Duke, Knueppel. Now, the Knueppel draft pick, again, I said it yesterday, I'll say it again today, was not the sexy pick. A lot of people wanted Ace Bailey and so on, but it ain't the sexiest pick. But it doesn't mean it's a bad pick. Jay Billis of ESPN talking about Knueppel, might be the best shooter in this class.
Well, he's the best catch-and-shoot guy in this draft. Knueppel's got deep range, shot 48% on corner threes, and his shooting mechanics and his shot preparation, his low base, near perfect. And he catches it to shoot it, and you've got to take that shot away from him. And he can get into the lane with his strength and makes plays off of 2 feet. But as a shooter, there aren't many like him in this draft. It's this catch-and-shoot, really deep range, and that shot gives him such credibility. He can drive a closeout, and again, playing off 2 feet. But one of the great things about Knueppel is he is tough, man. He's physical, he gets loose balls, but that shot with his shot fake, he's a straight line driver, and when he gets in the lane off a shot fake, he can make a play in the lane and he can make a pass, but he's got a versatile game.
So a couple things he said there. Playing off of 2 feet. He's not a guy that plays above the rim in terms of like his high flying and dunking and things like that. That's just not what his game is, and that's okay. That's what he means of playing off 2 feet. Now, he can get into the lane and make layups and do all those kinds of things, but he can catch and shoot, and he can work off the ball. Which, if you're going to have Brandon Miller, you can have LaMelo Ball, those guys being primary ball handlers, you need to have someone that can complement them. That's where Knueppel comes in. Also, Cam McNeely, the other first-round pick that they got, because the Charlotte Hornets yesterday traded away Mark Williams officially this time. They tried to trade him at the trade deadline this past season. That trade fell through because of the Los Angeles Lakers, saying, oh, he didn't pass our physical, so guess what? Nixed the trade, all that. So Mark Williams comes back to Charlotte. Well, now they finally have traded him again. They trade him away to the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns sent back the 29th pick in this class, as well as a future first-round pick in 2029. So they also get Cam McNeely as well, who's a little bit bigger, 6'7", but somewhat of a similar skill set to Knueppel. Some people might say, well, it's a little bit of redundancy. Last time I checked, this team just needs talent and guys that can raise the floor of their team and that can help build up the winning culture that Charlotte is trying to establish under Coach Lee. But a lot of people were wondering about Knueppel, and does he have the abilities in terms of, can he play defensive well? Is the footwork going to be there on the defensive end? Now, the tenacity and the mentality is there, but can he actually handle playing on the defensive side of things at the NBA level physically? Can he handle it? Can he play at this level? Well, Knueppel himself joined Mac and Bone down in Charlotte, WFNZ this morning, and he's heard the negative talk before, and it doesn't bother him.
Oh, it's nothing I haven't heard before. I'm just gonna keep working hard and trying to get better overall in my game, and that's worked out for me so far, and I have full confidence that it'll keep working out for me going forward.
I think Knueppel is going to be a really good pro. I think he really is. Again, he might not be the superstar that some of these other guys might be, and if he is, awesome. But he's going to be a player that you can consistently rely on game in and game out that's going to compete. Now, one of the players that was mentioned about, well, why didn't the Charlotte Hornets take a guy like Ace Bailey? Well, Ace Bailey, out of Rutgers, freshman, 6'8", talk about highlight reel. The guy makes a lot of tough shots, but it almost feels like he's trying to just make tough shots. Whereas Knueppel's kind of the opposite of that. May not make the consistent highlight reel play, but it's going to make the consistently good play. So Ace Bailey goes number 5 next to the Utah Jazz. And Jonathan Givony talked about how Utah was probably not one of Ace Bailey's preferred destinations.
Ace Bailey did not work out for a single NBA team. He's the only U.S. prospect that declined to do so. This was not one of his preferred destinations, Utah. He was hoping to get to either Washington, New Orleans, or Brooklyn. The Utah Jazz selected Ace Bailey knowing that this is a little bit of a stunner, but if you think about it, this is an outstanding place for Ace Bailey. They have a wide open wing situation. They have a huge need for a star in his mold. They have an outstanding coaching staff. I think Ace Bailey is going to recover from this very quickly and realize that he landed in an outstanding situation with the Utah Jazz. It just shows you there's only so much an agent can control in this process. If an NBA team decides they're going to take Ace Bailey, that's exactly what happened. And this is the first move that Austin Ainge has made as a head decision maker in the NBA, and it's a big one.
So you heard there at the beginning that Utah was not one of the destinations that Ace Bailey wanted to go to, and also the fact that Ace Bailey didn't work out for any team. There was actually consideration by the Philadelphia 76ers, possibly at number 3 for Ace Bailey. Ace Bailey canceled his workout with the 76ers at the 3rd overall pick. Now, going 5 as opposed to 3 in the long term cost you a good chunk of money. So Ace Bailey, by all accounts, wanted to either go to Washington, New Orleans, or possibly Brooklyn. So he was almost trying to manipulate other teams into going to where he wanted to go. And I wonder if Charlotte saw you canceled on Philadelphia. You probably also heard from his camp saying, hey, you know what? Charlotte doesn't feel like he is a good fit for him. Well, then I don't know if I want to draft a guy, even if as talented as Ace Bailey, if he's not going to give 100% effort, because what good does that do my team?
Yeah, and we all know that drama, if that's what it was, if it's an ego or whatever it may be, no team wants that, willingly wants that.
And Charlotte, a team that's trying to build itself up, doesn't need that.
And he hasn't proved himself yet in the NBA, so you're gambling on these picks.
Exactly. They all are. And they made a little bit of a stretch last year with their first-round pick as well, trying to go for that, potential big swing and all that. I get that Ace Bailey might come in and flash right away with the highlight reel stuff, but does he help bring the winning culture to the team that you want? Let's not forget that Ace Bailey, who went number 5, and Dylan Harper, who went number 2, those guys were teammates together in Rutgers last year. So you get 2 of the top 5 picks in the draft. Now, granted, they were both freshmen, but you get 2 of the top 5 picks. They didn't even make the NCAA tournament last year. Didn't even make the NCAA tournament. He had 2 of the top 5 picks in the draft. It's like, okay, well, what went wrong? Was it just the team around them just really wasn't that good? Which is obviously a possibility. You got to be more than just 2 guys. But anyway, there were plenty of red flags with other guys that Knueppel, in my mind, was a good option. I hate using the word safe, but kind of feels like he was the safe pick, and that's okay. I did hear I see someone, I think, posted to me, I think on X last night, saying it almost feels like taking Knueppel was like choosing your safety college, like your safety school, like your fallback school. Like, hey, if I don't get into one of these other schools, I know this one's still going to be here. I'm like, well, that's still okay because you're clearly okay with going to that other school, right? Okay, you didn't hit on, school 1 or school 2.
Safe, comfortable isn't always bad.
Exactly. And you know what? And you can still excel and thrive in those situations.
Yeah.
And I think they wanted to take VJ Edgecombe, who out of Baylor, who out of Baylor ended up going number 3 overall to the Philadelphia 76ers. If VJ Edgecombe had dropped down to number 4, that would have been obviously an easy pick. But he obviously wasn't there, so okay, you know what? We're going to go Knueppel. Nothing wrong with that at all. Which, by the way, I was actually thinking about this last night during the draft. Victoria, because here in North Carolina, we had the NCAA tournament, at least here in Raleigh at the Lenovo Center. We had first and second round games at the Lenovo Center. And Baylor was there, which had VJ Edgecombe. Got to see him play. Cooper Flagg and Knueppel, Khaman, Maluach, all top 10 picks for Duke were there. Walter Clayton Jr. From Florida, who was a first-round pick last night, was there. Cam McNeely, who's going to the Charlotte Hornets, was also there last night. There was a lot of really high-end talent that played at the Lenovo Center in the NCAA tournament this past March. I was like, man, we got to see all those guys. If you got to go watch those games, you got to see all those guys play under one building. 4 top 10 picks, 6 first-rounders or whatever it was. I was like, man, that was
I'm sure that was cool.
It was super cool, but also it was kind of a reminder, like, as a sports fan, sit back and enjoy what you're watching, because you can sit there and say, oh, yeah, I saw Cooper Flagg when he was in college before he became the all-NBA guy or VJ Edgecombe, whatever it might be. Sit back and enjoy the fun.
You can see the come up.
Yeah, exactly. Sit back and enjoy it while it's there. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon, who might be on the come-up Victoria with the Carolina Hurricanes, who might be coming to the Carolina Hurricanes. What big-name star could be on their way? We'll discuss that in 4 minutes.
From the heels,
touchdown Carolina,
to the canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
With free agency coming up, I don't know a lot about economics, but I know this. When there's a little supply, it's going to make the demand high. There's not many centers out there, and the Canes need one, so just be prepared for this. Either you're going to get a player you like, but the cost is going to be too much, or you're going to get a player you don't like, but you'll like the cost. You can't have it all.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
That's the sound of a Mountain Dew. And that's you enjoying its refreshing citrus kick. That's a cool breeze suddenly whistling through your hair.
Whoa!
That's you realizing you're now on a mountain.
This is epic!
That's you stating the obvious.
Mountain Dew!
Do the Dew.
Hurry into Family Fare and get 2 20-ounce bottles of ice-cold Mountain Dew for just $4.29. Family Fare, first in thirst.
Do your summer plans include travel? Make sure your prep includes more than just flights and hotels. Stay up to date with COVID-19 vaccination, especially if you're 65 or older or have certain health conditions. There have been surges in COVID-19 in the summer, too. It's important to help protect yourself no matter your destination. So check eligibility and schedule in minutes at VaxAssist.com. That's VAXAssist.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Hey girl, haven't seen you downtown lately.
Nope, sticking to our go-to places.
You mean like Sharky's?
Well, we love our Sharky's. Best wings and gumbo on the planet. But we never miss the $5 sangrias on Wednesdays at the new Salt and Lime and Mexican pints on Thursdays for $3.
You know my boy loves the House of Hops. No better selection of craft beer in the state. Loves their specials, their food trucks, and you know I love my wine. They have a wonderful selection.
And have I told you about our new takeout spot, Che Empanadas? It's right next to Sharky's. They have 20 different types of authentic Argentinian empanadas, and they are incredible, especially the breakfast ones. You gotta try it.
Sounds perfect. And how awesome is it that they're so close to each other?
Yes.
Give them a try. Che Empanadas, House of Hops, Salt and Lime, and Sharky's. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from each other off Durham Road, Glenwood, and Grove Barton.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This is is Adam Gold.
I told Tim, who does the afternoon show, I said, I'm about to turn this game around. We need Cheez-Its. So I went to go get magical Lucky Cheez-Its, and guess what? Boom. Period 2, tied it up. And then at the end of the game, I still had like 8 Cheez-Its in the cup left, and I said, Lucky Cheez-Its.
There you go. The Adam Gold Show.
Victoria, I feel like between now, this moment that we are talking, and Tuesday, with the NHL draft coming up, because they always say deadline spur actions, right? That we might see a couple of big-time moves in the NHL. I'm talking some headliners moving. And the reason why I bring that up is because teams might realize, okay, look at the free agent pool. It's not very deep. You might realize, you know what, we might be out of the running for Mitch Marner. Like, what are realistic chances for doing something? And if we want to strike now, in terms of going after a cup, we might have to overpay a little bit in order to get somebody. By the way, it's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria Vodnecker producing the show. And I think if Carolina really does want to add, if they want to add to their center position, it's going to cost quite a bit. Because the free agency pool for centers is just basically, it's non-existent. When guys like Sam Bennett are most likely going to re-sign with Sam Bennett most likely going to re-sign with the Florida Panthers. When you see other guys like Dallas re-signing, not Mikael Granlund, Matt Duchene,
yes,
on their team. I know Mikael Granlund's also a pending free agent for them. But when you see some of these guys that are potential centers that might be hitting the free agent market and they're just simply not, well, then guess what? Now I got to go trade for somebody. If I really want to add somebody, I got to go trade for them. So it's a seller's market, I guess you can say. Hey, if you want Tage Thompson, if you want William Karlsson, if you want one of these guys, it's going to cost you a lot. We're not just going to give these guys away pennies on a dollar unless a team is desperate to offload a salary. But when it comes to actual free agents, this is where you can go after a winger. Mitch Marner being the top guy out there on pretty much everyone's board. When you have a 100-plus point guy that hits free agency at the age of 28, and a guy that, by the way, we talk about his offensive production, the guy's good on the defensive end of the ice as well. Like, he's been a top 10 vote getter in the Selke, for the Selke Award. Selke Award is given to the best defensive forward in the NHL. I mean, Carolina Hurricanes have 3 guys in the top 20 with Jordan Staal, Seth Jarvis, and Sebastian Aho. So they have 3 of the top 20 defensive forwards in the NHL, including Jordan Staal just a couple seasons ago finishing second to Alexander Barkov of the Florida Panthers. So the question is, can you make that big splash, Carolina, for Mitch Marner? And also, it's the other side of that coin. Is Mitch Marner truly considering you? Pierre LeBrun, who writes for The Athletic, also covers the NHL for TSN up in Canada. You want to talk about his insider when it comes to covering hockey. Well, Pierre LeBrun on TSN Hockey Insider doesn't know if the Hurricanes are really on Mitch Marner's radar completely.
Carolina would love to be all in on Mitch Marner. Remember that they tried to trade for him at the deadline. I just don't know that Carolina would be on Marner's list. In fact, I don't think they are right now, but that could change. Columbus, a team out of left field that has the most cap space in the whole league, Jay. They would like to get in on it, but again, I don't know that they would be a team on Mitch Marner's list. Probably won't be. So again, still developing. There are teams that will come out from obscurity on this too between now and next week, but that's a start.
You mentioned Columbus. Now, the Columbus Blue Jackets, here's one thing we have to keep in consideration when we look at salary cap available for these teams. Now, you might look at the Columbus Blue Jackets and say, well, they have X amount of dollars available this upcoming season in terms of salary cap this offseason. So Columbus is sitting there with, you look and say, well, they got $40.4 million in cap space. Well, one thing you have to take into consideration is that if they have, restricted free agents that are going to be due tenders of offers, well, that eats into some of your cap, right? So you got to factor in restricted free agents as well. So really the true projected cap space for the Columbus Blue Jackets isn't $40.4 million. It's more like $35.4 million. Same thing when it comes to the Anaheim Ducks. A lot of people say, well, Anaheim has all this cap space. Anaheim's sitting there looking at, the Anaheim Ducks are looking at $36 million in cap space. Well, actually, the Anaheim Ducks, when you factor in all of their restricted free agents and the estimated value of those contracts for this upcoming year, take that away from that salary cap, well, now they really only have $19.3 million to work with for unrestricted free agents. The Carolina Hurricanes are poised to be in a good position because they don't have any restricted free agents that they have to worry about signing this year. Unlike last year when they were dealing with Jack Drury and Martin Necas, where you had to factor in those guys' salaries before you can make free agent signings, which was something that kind of prohibited them from signing Jake Gensel to a contract extension because you didn't know the amount of money that you were going to get with Jack Drury with his potential arbitration. Same thing with Martin Necas last year. Seth Jarvis was a restricted free agent going into last season as well, or last offseason. So those are all things that you have to take into consideration when you actually truly look at cap space. So Carolina's cap space, that $27.6 million roughly, is truly money that they can spend on free agents, unrestricted free agents. All things you have to take into consideration. So the money is there for Carolina, but again, isn't Mitch Marner really considering Carolina? And what other teams are going to be competing with Carolina for Mitch Marner services? Pierre LeBrun discussed what other teams are serious contenders for Marner.
There are teams that we've identified that for sure I think are going to be in this. Vegas is in there. Dallas is interesting because Dallas, I think, is a team that Marner would like to have in there. I just don't know if the Stars can pull it off after they've committed themselves to Rantanen and they've got cap issues. But keep an eye on Dallas. LA Kings, I think, want to make a splash under Ken Holland. Anaheim Ducks just cleared up some cap space in trading Trevor Zegras. They are for sure not done. I just don't know if they have the wherewithal to get into the Marner Derby, but I think they're going to certainly ask the question.
Dallas, I thought, was an intriguing one to mention. We actually talked with Justin Pothier of Sim Bin Vegas, who covers the Vegas Golden Knights. We discussed yesterday with him about what is Vegas's chances of possibly going after a guy like Mitch Marner, and what would it take in order for them to free up the cap space in order to sign some of these guys. They also have a guy like Nicholas Hague on defense who is a restricted free agent that they have to worry about signing as well. Now, Alex Pietrangelo, one of their defensemen that's making $8.8 million a year, is probably going to miss this upcoming season due to injury, so you can put him on long-term injured reserve and save money that way. But if Carolina isn't going to be in on Mitch Marner and Vegas and some of these other teams are, well, then how can Carolina benefit? If Vegas is all in on Mitch Marner, well, they have to offload a contract or two. And Carolina might be able to swoop in and we'll take William Karlsson off your books because William Karlsson could be our number 2 center. Hey, we're doing you guys a solid to clear up cap space so you guys can sign Mitch Marner. Well, you got to give us a darn good player in return. Go get William Karlsson, 2 years left on his deal at $5.9 million. He can come in and be your number 2 center right away. And you don't have to give up a whole lot to go get him. It might just be picks and prospects, and you don't have to really give up anyone on your current roster in order to bring that guy in, which might be the ideal thing. Carolina's stacked up with some pretty good prospects as well as draft capital over the next several seasons, and they have a ton of cap space, but not a whole lot of holes to fill. It's really an ideal situation for Carolina where they could actually go get a guy like William Karlsson for pennies on the dollar. If Dallas really does want to get in on the Mitch Marner thing, they're going to have to offload a couple of contracts. Hey, guess what, Jason Robertson? Maybe I don't have to give up a whole lot. Maybe it's going to be guys on rookie contracts hey, guess what? Might have to give up a Bradley Nadeau and a Jackson Blake and a pick in order to get Jason Robertson from Dallas. I would give up Bradley Nadeau, Jackson Blake, and a high pick to go get Jason Robertson from Dallas, 100% would make that move. So Carolina is poised to possibly, if they don't get Mitch Marner, can still benefit from other teams that are trying to be in that race. That's where Carolina, I think, and Eric Tulsky can really swoop in and pull off another trick in order to get somebody. Because let's be honest, what he flipped for to get Mikko Rantanen out, the fact that you got Logan Stankoven, darn good player, and you got 2 first-round picks and a couple third-round picks as well. That, like, well done, Tulsky, for flipping, basically Jack Drury and Martin Necas into Taylor Hall, Logan Stankoven, and future capital as well for draft picks that you can move to get something else. He set the team up for in a pretty good spot, made something great out of something that potentially could have been disastrous.
Definitely a good place to be.
It's a great place to be.
Especially with the guys that did come here.
Yeah. And if you go trade for, some of these guys I just mentioned, and hey, you know what? You could still go sign if you feel positive about Nikolai Ehlers, go make that move. Or Brock Besser, who Brock Besser was in on potentially trading for even as much as the last couple of seasons. Martin Necas was discussed as part of that deal. Now, Martin Necas obviously ended up going to Colorado with the whole Mikko Rantanen thing and everything. That's, it's what it is. But there has been interest there, and Brock Besser is going to be a highly sought-after free agent as well, especially for teams that don't get in on Mitch Marner. Now, the NHL is trying to crack down on teams tampering with players and free agents, basically talking to the players and agents of these players before the window actually allows them to do so. And Pierre LeBrun also discussed that again. Pierre LeBrun of TSN and of The Athletic discussed teams are still waiting to get in on the Mitch Marner bandwagon, but also are being cautious about making sure they don't cross any lines.
Bill Daley from the NHL warned teams this year at a Board of Governors meeting to take down their tampering a level. He knows it can't be zero tampering, but he said, guys, if you do something obvious, we're going to have to come down on you guys. And I will say that I've noticed there are teams trying to be on the right side of this to some degree. And so there are teams saying to me, hey, yeah, I think we want to investigate that, but we're honestly waiting till July 1st to know more from the agent.
It's a fascinating time in the NHL. The prospect pool is not very deep. I'm going to say the prospect pool, but the free agency pool isn't really deep because Sam Bennett's probably not going to hit free agency, but Brad Marchand's probably not going to hit free agency. Aaron Ekblad probably is. Mitch Marner is. There's Nikolai Ehlers. There's Brock Besser, but it's not a great free agent market. It's not a very deep one. Now, if you're a free agent, like you're a Brock Besser or somebody like that, you might be able to cash in a little bit more. Like someone might overpay for you just because of, again, the lack of depth in the free agency pool.
Yeah.
We'll see.
The closer we get to July 1st, the more exciting Twitter's going to be.
I'm so excited.
It's just going to explode.
I'm so excited. So tomorrow is the NHL draft, or at least round 1 of the NHL draft is tomorrow, and Carolina is picking super late in the first round. I'm actually going to be over where the Canes are going to be doing their draft tomorrow, which is over by their practice facility in Morrisville. So I'm going to be over there tomorrow, kind of like watching and following along the draft. I'm anxious to see what happens tomorrow during the draft and see if anyone gets moved, because you never know if Eric Tulsky might be looking at like a young center prospect that he feels can step in and play right away for the team, and they package something up together and move up to like pick 5 or 4 and like, hey, guess what? We just drafted a center that can step in and play for us right away. They might be doing that for all we know.
Wouldn't hate it.
And if it works, fine. I mean, it'd be a lot to ask a rookie to step in and do that. But hey, you know what? Who knows? Who knows, right? I'm anxious to see what's going to happen, not just tonight, but tomorrow, just really over the weekend, because deadline spur actions. That's what we're going to see. Deadlines spur actions. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Coxon again for Adam Gold this afternoon. Victoria Vodnecker producing the show. In 4 weeks, Victoria, 4 weeks from today.
Yes!
Panthers open up training camp. 4 weeks! 4 things that the Panthers need to address on the other side. Next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
You'll be one smart cookie when you try Bluebell Cookie Cake Ice Cream. A sweet cream ice cream loaded with chocolate chip cookie cake pieces and swirls of chocolate and vanilla icing. This cookie cake ice cream really takes the cake.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. This month, we're talking about a major collaboration that's making waves in Iredell County. Kim Holland, Development Coordinator for the Iredell Health Foundation, tells us about Whole 3.
The goal of the collaborative is about addressing the complex and interwoven challenges that many families in Iredell County face. And, things like poverty, lack of access to health care, and educational disparities. So it's designed as truly a collaborative. It's community-led initiative. We're bringing together schools, nonprofits, health systems, and families to build a system that actually works for families, not just around them.
Learn more and join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
My name is Stacy. I'm the proud mother of 2 daughters who were born prematurely. Our daughter Emma weighed less than 2 pounds when she was born, and today she's 100% prescription formula fed. It costs over $125 a day. Private insurance does not cover her formula, but Medicaid does. And I couldn't imagine the choices we'd have to make without it. My name is Stacy, and I'm speaking up to protect NC Medicaid.
Learn more at ncchild.org/speakup. That's ncchild.org/speakup.
Healthcare? Why?
Why is it so hard?
Healthcare is broken.
At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, we get it.
Really?
Really. That's why we're making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
Really?
Really. We're making plans easier to navigate by putting all your benefits, prescriptions, and details on your computer and phone. Convinced?
No, but it's a start.
We'll take it. Blue Cross North Carolina, making healthcare better for all, starting with you.
As public power customers, we experience fewer outages and faster restoration than customers of other electric providers. But the benefits of having a locally owned electric system go far beyond unbeaten reliability. Our local public power employees support our community, providing electric hookups for events, installing and maintaining ballpark lights, holiday lights, traffic lights, street lights, and more. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's the value of public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
As a school nurse, I feel like we're really that contact for the schools between the Department of Public Health and what goes on in the school system.
The face of the Department of Public Health in our school is our nurse, Nurse Emma. All the communication that she was receiving and direction she was receiving, she made sure to communicate with us and be a wonderful partner with us.
These kids need their routines.
NC Public Health. Everywhere, every day. Everyone.
This is Adam Gold.
He doesn't have many years to choose from.
No, and part of that was COVID. Nobody's picking COVID.
COVID was a great year.
Yeah.
Look, if you invested in Zoom,
oh, that was a good year. Yes.
You had a good year during COVID.
Yep.
The Adam Gold Show.
So, Victoria, here's something to keep in mind real fast. So
Yes.
actually going back to the Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh.
all things to take into consideration. This is something that even current players have to factor in as well. Here's an important note we have to realize. So the NHL Players Association and the league, the Board of Governors, are discussing right now an extension on the collective bargaining agreement, which would kick in after this upcoming season to be a 4-year CBA. So you're talking about running through 27, 28, 29, through the 2030 season. All right, so the current CBA would run through this upcoming year, 25, 26. Part of one of the terms of the new collective bargaining agreement that would, again, kick in after this season, that if you're, like, for example, in the NHL right now, if you're signing one of your current players to a contract extension, you can sign them to a max length of 8 years. If you're signing a free agent from another team, it's 7 years. Okay? Now, what we saw what the Carolina Hurricanes did with Jacob Slavin and with Seth Jarvis was one thing they did with their contract extensions was doing deferred money. Okay? Now, so that's what the current collective bargaining agreement has in place. In 26-27, when the new collective bargaining agreement comes into place, which it feels like everything's going to be agreed upon, we'll probably hear an announcement tomorrow. Okay? Players re-signing with their current team can only be for a maximum of 7 years. And if you're signing a free agent from another team, the maximum can only be 6.
Oh.
So take a year off. So, for example, if Carolina wants to sign Mitch Marner or anybody this offseason, this is the last offseason you can sign a free agent from another team to a 7-year contract. Okay? Which is what the max that Carolina can sign Brock Besser, Nikolai Ehlers, Aaron Ekblad, whomever, is 8 years. I'm sorry, 7 years. That's what currently is. For a guy that's currently on their team, like a Logan Stankoven, that's going into the final year of his entry-level contract. Alexander Nikishin just has 1 year left on his entry-level contract. Jackson Blake, 1 year left on his entry-level contract. If you want to sign these guys to long-term extensions, this is the last chance. This season is your last opportunity to sign them to 8 years. Because after this season, it goes to 7. That's the longest that you can do on the new CBA starting July 1st of 2026. So keep that in mind. So if I'm Eric Tulsky, I want to make sure I got Logan Stankoven locked up for the longest term possible. He has 1 year left on his entry-level contract, and then on July 1st, I can sign him for 8 more years. So basically, I have him for control for 9.
Yeah.
This is your last chance to do it.
That'll change things up, I'm sure.
It's going to massively change things because if you don't sign, let's say, Logan Stankoven to a contract extension at some point during this season, when he hits restricted free agency next year, you can still work out a long-term deal, but it can only be for 7 years. That's something to keep in mind. So, again, new note about the upcoming collective bargaining agreement that's going to be agreed upon. Starting in the 26-27 season, maximum players, the maximum term length that a player on your team that you are re-signing in the NHL will go from 8 years to 7, and signing free agents, the maximum term length will drop from 7 years to 6. All things to keep in mind. And they're looking to do away with the deferred money as well. Because that's a way that, used to be part of the deal where guess what? You can circumvent the cap a little bit. Now, the contracts for Seth Jarvis and Jacob Slavin, those were already agreed upon under their previous CBA. They're not going to have to alter any of those contracts. But those also things to keep in mind. Also, it's going to be an 84-game regular season.
Well,
they're going to add a couple more games. Now, they'll take away a couple preseason games, and they'll add a couple regular season games, and they'll start the season probably like a week earlier to kind of factor in that time and kind of shorten the preseason up a little bit and all that, which I think the players are actually kind of cool with doing. Obviously, because they're agreeing to this. But, the current CBA allows for 8-year contracts, but the new agreement will phase that out. So keep that in mind when it comes to this upcoming offseason. And, again, your own potential free agents, all things you have to keep in mind as well when you're signing these contract extensions. So wanted to make sure we have that caveat out there, especially for a player like we've heard Marner might be willing to sign a 2-year deal or a 3-year deal to, plays really well for a couple of seasons. Well, if he wants to hit free agency again in 3 years, well, then the maximum contract length that he can sign is only 6 years as opposed to 7. Or signs an extension with the team that he's currently on can only be 7 years as opposed to 8.
Yeah.
All things to keep in mind as well. It's the Adam Gold Show. Dennis Cox sitting in for Adam Gold today. Victoria Vodenecker producing the show. If you missed any of the show, make sure you check it out on the Best of the Adam Gold Show podcast. All right? Check it out on the Best of the Adam Gold Show podcast, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Also, go on YouTube. 99.9 The Fan is the flagship station for the Adam Gold Show. Subscribe there on YouTube. You can watch the show. You can leave thoughts in the comments section. You can do all those kinds of things. Interact with us. We really do enjoy it a lot. But 4 weeks from now, Victoria, 4 weeks from now.
1 month.
Training camp starts with the Carolina
Yes.
Panthers. Training camp starts 4 weeks, folks.
Yes.
Mark your calendars. Literally, it's like 4 weeks from today. So it's not even really a month. It's like going down Thursdays.
Season.
It's that close. Like it really is that close.
So ready.
So 4 things that I want to see the Carolina Panthers address and think about, obviously with training camp coming up 4 weeks from now. So 4 things I still think that are question marks for the Panthers from now. 1, they got to figure out who's starting at safety alongside Trayvon Merrick. That's number 1. So number 1, Trayvon Merrick was probably their biggest free agent signing from the Vegas Raiders. Almost said the Golden Knights. But the Las Vegas Raiders was their biggest signing as a free agent. Now, I was at mandatory minicamp about 3 weeks ago, whatever it was, 2 weeks ago, and I saw working with the first unit alongside Trayvon Merrick was Damani Richardson, who's going into his 2nd year this year. He was an undrafted free agent last year out of Texas A&M. Saw some playing time last year when there were some injuries to guys like Jordan Fuller and Nick Scott. So Damani Richardson did get some playing time, and we saw him around the football a lot. And Richardson was playing as that starting free safety. Trayvon Merrick playing up as like a strong safety. Saw him playing up towards the line of scrimmage quite a bit. Now, they also drafted Lathan Ransom in the 4th round of Ohio State this past year, who's also a more of an up towards the line of scrimmage, up in the box type safety. Now, Dan Morgan, the general manager of the Carolina Panthers, said, hey, you know what? Don't discount the fact that Trayvon Merrick can play deep safety. Don't discount the fact that he can do it. Now, it's not something he did a lot with Vegas, with the Raiders this past year, but don't discount that he actually has that part of his game, even though he hasn't fully shown that yet in the NFL. It's like, okay, well, that's a possibility, but if you're putting him at deep free safety at times, well, then who's going to be a strong safety that can come up up into the box towards the line of scrimmage and make plays? Are you going to trust a rookie in Lathan Ransom to do that? Or are you going to trust 2nd-year player Damani Richardson, again, an undrafted free agent last year, to be a guy that can be either one of those spots? It's still a major question mark. Is who starts at safety. Now, they brought Nick Scott back from last season. To me, he's more of a special teams player for the team. You obviously need those players out there, but that's a major question mark going forward, okay? Another thing kind of ties in with the safety spot. So 2nd thing, you got to find some depth, especially at corner. Got to find some depth, especially at corner. So you know that J.C. Horn is your top guy. Mike Jackson that you brought back, who had actually a pretty good year last year, I thought, brought back to be your starting corner opposite of J.C. Horn. You have your fifth round pick from last year in Shaw Smith-Wade, who at Washington State did play some corner out on the outside, but when going through the draft process, a lot of teams, because of his build and size, but also his quickness, thought, hey, he's more built to be a nickel corner, and he's getting some rave reviews out of camp this offseason. He actually showed some flashes and even had he had an interception against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year as a slot corner. Now, he can play on the outside because he did that in college, but he's shorter, he's 5'10", he's quicker. I don't know if he's built to play on the outside long term, but once you get past those 3 guys, Victoria, it's nothing but question marks.
Yeah.
It's nothing but question marks. I know Caleb Evans was the guy that they had on the team last year. Shamar Bartholomew is getting some positive reviews about how he's grown from last season. Now, Shamar Bartholomew was a rookie last year that they claimed off waivers, if I remember correctly, from the New York Jets during cutdown day at the end of training camp last year. They went and claimed him off waivers from the Jets. So, was trying to learn the defense on the fly while also, trying to get some reps and all that stuff. So he didn't really play a whole lot last year. Now, it's one thing this upcoming offseason where he knows the defense and can actually train and practice with the team during the offseason. But once you get to that point, it's questions. Like, really, once you get past the top three guys, it's all question marks from there, especially at nickel corner. We all know J.C. Horn's injury history. It's not great. And then once you get past Shaw Smith-Wade as your nickel corner, who is it? That's major questions in the secondary. One, who starts at safety alongside Trayvon Merrick? Second is, where's your corner depth? I like their three guys in terms of Horn, Jackson, and Smith-Wade. But after that, huge question marks. Third thing, Victoria. What wide receiver doesn't make the team? You drafted Teteroa McMillan 8th overall this year. You have Xavier Legette, your first-round pick, number 32 overall last year. You have Adam Thielen, the wily old vet, the oldest wide receiver in the NFL. Still gets it done, by the way.
I know, still kicking.
Still gets it done.
It's impressive.
Then after that, you still have Jalen Coker, who was an undrafted free agent last year out of Holy Cross, who really showed some flashes. Actually led the Panthers last year in yards per reception at 14.9, if I remember correctly off the top of my head. But he led the team last year in yards per reception. I actually really like Jalen Coker especially in the intermediate routes, like the crossers over the middle of the field, 10, 12 yards downfield. I feel like that's where he really excels. Watching both him and Xavier Legette at minicamp. Legette even talked about it in an interview recently where he actually feels as healthy as he's felt since early in college.
It's a good thing.
It's a great thing. Legette looked quicker. His hands were like he was catching the ball with his hands and with confidence.
Well, that's the key. We want him to catch the ball, too.
There's that.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Coker looked like he had leaned down a little bit and looked quicker.
Okay.
Which I think is, obviously, that's just kind of like understanding what it's going to take to play in the NFL. That's just part of just maturing and getting older. Same with both those guys.
Yeah.
But then watching Hunter Renfrow, who they signed as a free agent, who actually missed all of last season, and really has been, for the last couple of years of his career, has been playing through like an illness. He actually had ulcerative colitis, which really impacted his weight and just how he was able to train and everything. He was just constantly dealing with pain. And sure enough, it was after his big season in 2021 that he started dealing with the problem. That's where you saw his production just take a plummet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a far cry from the 100-catch, 1,000-yard season he had back in 2021 with the Raiders. But the fact that he's healthier now and is able to train and get his body back, watching him at minicamp, and I was sitting there watching him, I was like, oh, he looked like the Hunter Renfrow that we knew from Clemson, the Hunter Renfrow that we knew early in his career in the NFL, where he's great in those short routes. Playing in the slot. Hey, I can make a couple quick sudden steps and I'm open. Like, he's not going to beat you with speed or anything, but he's going to get quickness and precision route running. So you have Hunter Renfrow along with Jalen Coker. You also have Adam Thielen. You have Xavier Legette. You have Teteroa McMillan. Well, then you also drafted Jimmy Horn Jr. in the 6th round out of Colorado, who is speedy, who's fast, but he's dealing with a hamstring injury this offseason. So you don't how much is he going to be able to recover during training camp and be ready to go?
Still a question mark.
It is. But you also have David Moore, who's been with Dave Canales, the head coach, since he was with him in Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
He was with him in Seattle. So Dave Canales clearly trusts that guy.
Yeah.
Well, that's 7 guys that I've mentioned. You're probably only going to keep 6. And some of those guys, if you're 4th, 5th, 6th on the depth chart, you're going to have to play special teams in some way, shape, or form. If you're 4th, 5th, and 6th on the depth chart at wide receiver, you're going to have to contribute on special teams. Now, Jimmy Horn Jr. can return kicks. Hunter Renfrow can return kicks. David Moore, we've seen return kicks. I mean, I've seen Jalen Coker cover kicks as well. Those guys have to find another way to contribute more than just being pass catchers. So the question is, all right, who's that wide receiver that's left out? Jalen Coker, I think, makes this team simply off the fact that he's a young player that you have cost control over the next few seasons. And again, a growing and developing player. David Moore, Hunter Renfrow, these guys are on 1-year contracts. If you feel like Renfrow can still contribute and play for you right now, then keep him. Maybe it's David Moore that you let go. Also, you might look and say, well, a team might be in desperate need for like a fourth wide receiver, and if Hunter Renfrow shows well in training camp and in preseason games that he can still play, that you might do hey, we'll trade you Hunter Renfrow to kind of give us a number 4 tight end to give us some insurance while Tommy Tremble's still recovering from his back injury.
Yeah.
So, like, that could be a potential move as well. But who's the odd man out at wide receiver? And the final thing is figure out who can get to the quarterback from your edge rushers on a consistent basis. So you have DJ Wanham that you signed last year as a free agent from the Minnesota Vikings. Missed half the season, still was recovering from a quad injury that he suffered the year before, but also was dealing with a blood clotting issue, which really was the main thing that held him out for a long time. So it was a blood clotting issue. He played 8 games last year, had 4 sacks. There was a noticeable difference when he was out there on the field. Like, there was a noticeable difference in a positive way when Wanham was out there on the field in the second half of the year. Now, the defense was great, but there was a difference. They signed Pat Jones, also from the Minnesota Vikings, who had 7 sacks last year as a situational pass rusher. And they drafted in the second round Nick Scorton from Texas A&M. They drafted in the third round Princely Umamielen in the third round. Umamielen might be more of the true speed edge rusher guy that might be more built for situational downs where it's 3rd and 9. Princely Umamielen's going to be out there on the field. Whereas opposed to like, all right, it's 2nd and 4. That's where you're going to see guys like DJ Wanham and Nick Scorton out there on the field. But they got to figure out on a consistent basis, whether it's developing these young guys or Pat Jones continuing to grow and develop, who can get to the quarterback. How are they going to generate more pressure on the quarterback this season? Now, you might do it in the aggregate where guys like Turk Wharton from the interior defensive line, maybe Derek Brown coming off his knee injury can add more to his level of play. He's a phenomenal run stopper.
I'm excited for him.
Yeah, as am I.
Him.
But I want to see him add more to the pass rush. Like, how can he generate more as a pass rusher? That's what I want to see from Derek Brown. So 4 major things. 4 weeks from now, it's training camp. But in those 4 weeks, we're going to see a lot with the Carolina Hurricanes. We're going to see hopefully more with the Panthers. And more NBA draft tonight. Victoria, thank you. Paul Ihander will be in here tomorrow at noon. Until next time, I bid you adieu. Goodbye and good night.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Tim here for All-Star Dog Training. We all know Ripken, the legend, right? The best trained dog in the Triangle. You see him at Bulls games. You see him at state games grabbing the tee. What you may not know is Michael from All-Star Dog Training, the man behind the dog, has won awards like the Voters' Choice Award for Best Pet Training Service 8 years in a row, PBS Emmy Award, hundreds of 5-star reviews. Michael, what else have you done to garner this attention?
We try to help every dog in the Triangle. That's our goal, and I know Ripken will want every dog